Morning, Raptor Freak Alexios here. Thursday morning after a great victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves last night at home, finishing up a homestand, 4 games in a row, all 4 victories by the Raptors. Each game very different, but the Raptors showing different ways that they can win games and stuff like that. Last night, Minnesota has had such a bad history against the Raptors. Some of the stats about how well we do against the Timberwolves, the franchises throughout the history of the whole time the Raptors have been around, we dominated this franchise for the most part. And it's very telling when Karl Anthony Towns has never won in Toronto. He has never won an NBA game in Toronto. And during the COVID season, we lost a lot of these different kinds of records and stuff like that. But this is a record that has stood, obviously, because we weren't in Toronto. But that to me is fascinating that Karl Anthony Towns has never ever won a single game in Toronto once in his career. Has been in the league for 7 years now or something like that, and he's never won here. And I know that in a way that may be part of it mentally for him, that he's got to think, well, this is something I've never done. And there may be a block on that. The other thing about the Minnesota team and the way the game went down last night is at a certain point, they threw up the white flag and started surrendering to us. And he was shown by Chris Finch putting in most of his bench with a lot of time on the clock still. This is not a team like the Raptors. This is a team that is used to losing and used to tucking their tail and just giving up the game at some point in the game. That if you really put in a good effort like we did last night and Boston did on Sunday, they'll just pack up for the night and be done. And I love that our team is not like that. It doesn't matter what the score is. We're going to put in a good effort and try and surge up and get back in the game no matter what. But that is the difference between cultures. That is the difference between our winning culture and our never die, always put that energy out there no matter what kind of culture, and their culture, which is conditioned over the years in Minnesota of expecting losing, expecting to be blown out, and then just giving up. And it's really telling when you hear the post-game interviews with the Timberwolves about how that is and stuff like that, or listening to Chris Finch in the interviews afterwards, that it's just like, listen, they've had it so bad in Minnesota for the last few years that Karl Anthony Towns is just happy to get a capable coach that has them winning and just a couple of guys around him like Patrick Beverley that are really good vets that are helping him, that it's been so bad there that he's gotten that extra relief and help. So it's been a successful year for Minnesota, but we swept those motherfuckers. We beat them both times we played them, and we did it in convincing way this time. Actually, the first game was closer, the one in Minnesota that we played earlier this year. And once again, Gary Trent Jr. showing up huge against Minnesota. We were talking about it yesterday in the preview and hoping that it would happen, and it did. Gary went out there and he took them apart, guys. He had a 9 of 13 shooting last night, 6 of 8 from three-pointer, 5 of 5 at the free throw line, 29 points with only 2 rebounds. But hey, he was doing the scoring last night. He was the guy that was putting it in the hole for us over and over again, which was really, really good. And I love that. Overall, the Toronto Raptors three-point shooting last night was fantastic. That is actually a huge key to why we won last night, was that we shot 50% for the whole game from the field overall, and 50% from three-point range last night. That is fantastic, shooting 50%. At halftime, we were shooting like 65 or 60% from three-point range, and it really was that crazy second quarter where we busted things open and really got the tide turned in our way. 42 points scored in the second quarter by our team, and it just shows, besides that defensive element where we can shut down a team for like 5 to 6 minutes of a quarter at times because we just really get in tune with our defense, we can also really turn it on offensively and score a lot of points really fast, quickly. So that is a very dangerous thing about the Raptors. It was really a tale of 4 quarters last night. The first quarter, once again, we saw us come out a little flat. Minnesota was the aggressor. Minnesota was the more physical team. Minnesota was the team that was doing more, and they were getting rewarded by the referee crew. And Sue messaged me right off the bat during the game last night on Facebook. She messaged me, the refs are doing it again. And I was like, you know what? She's kind of right. But then again, is it also that we just came out flat again and weren't the aggressor and they rewarded them just in that time? Because it did look really biased at the beginning, the way the refs were calling it. But I'm going to tell you right now, the ref crew did a fantastic job last night. I have to give them an A. Instead of taking their grade down from B yesterday, I'm giving them a kick up to an A because, listen, I'll tell you exactly why I'm giving them an A. Those offensive fouls on Cat when he was setting those screens, the fact that he got 2 offensive fouls for a little bit of extra contact on the picks is really good call because that's a superstar. You don't normally call that kind of shit on a guy like that. Well, they did, and they did it a couple times, not just once. And that really was a good faith kind of call for me. As far as like they are calling it that way on them like that, that's fantastic. I'm sure Timberwolf fan wasn't very happy about it, but it was the right call. And I really enjoyed Bill Kennedy is a great crew chief. Once again, I told you he's one of the 20-year vet refs in the NBA that actually has a really good win percentage when the Raps are playing. We win usually really well. And when he does the flagrant foul or the challenge microphone, that man has golden pipes. You can tell this man can sing some beautiful karaoke. He just has one of the best, most professional, best voices for that microphone when they do the challenge talk. You know, he says something like, Minnesota has challenged the ball. He just has such a great delivery. As somebody who worked in radio in the past, that man has a badass voice. And I love to see Bill Kennedy sing some karaoke, like, because he just has the best delivery at that microphone, the official's microphone. He's just cool to hear. But yeah, they did a great job. I thought they were very fair, and that's why I'm giving them an A at this point because they allowed the game to happen the way it was supposed to, and we didn't get stymied. It was just in that first quarter, it looked a little unfair, but things really did balance out and work out by the end. There were even a couple of makeup calls. There would be a bad call on one end of the court against us, but then the next trip down the other way, they'd make a makeup call, which was kind of a bad call against them, just to even it out. It's a classic NBA ref method to really show the crowd and whoever that they're fair. They'll make a bad call at one end, and then they'll turn around and make a bad call right at the other end and say, look, we make bad calls for both teams. It's fair. They've been doing this in the NBA since the 80s. It's just a makeup call. That's what they call it. If they know they kind of were like, that call maybe was borderline, maybe it was a little like unfair to the Raptors, then at the other end, they'll do one that's just kind of like this kind of unfair to the Timberwolves. And that's why I had no problem with the officiating last night. Fantastic job by them. Good morning, Jacob McLean in Australia. He is on the other side of the earth. I hope you got to watch the game last night. Fantastic run our guys are on now. Now we're set up really interesting for some interesting things on this home stretch. I'm going to talk about something very, very interesting that could happen. Hey, Greg's here this morning. Good morning to the Jubstown Clink. Morning, guys. Big win, big win. Yeah, they're all big wins going out this way. Listen, we're sitting at 44 wins for the season right now. We have 6 games to go. You do the math. We win out. We get 50 wins for the season. And some people may laugh at me for saying this right now, but you know what? They're crazy enough to try and do this shit because on a good year when we aren't supposed to be a developing team or a team that has to deal with Tampa or COVID or shit like that, we did deal with COVID this year. We always flirt with 50-win seasons. Well, I know we probably will flirt with it this year also, and we probably won't get it just because it's going to be really tough to win our last 10 games all in a row. But if we could accomplish it, we've kind of gotten the tough ones out of the way in a way. We do have Miami and Philadelphia next week still, and those may be the toughest ones still. But this is very doable in some ways if we keep going game by game, take it game by game. What if we got the last 6 games in a row and we ended up with 50 wins this season? That would be an amazing accomplishment that I'm sure the mainstream NBA would poo-poo. But we would feel real good because this is a watermark for the Raptors franchise year in, year out when we're battling to get into the playoffs. We're usually right in between that 45, 50 range with our win total for the year. So the fact that this team, who was supposed to be not in the playoffs, not supposed to be a 500 team, if they're flirting with 50 wins for the year, that is a huge success, and we should rub it in the NBA's face left and right because we had no business being anywhere near 50 wins, and it's looking like we're going to get real close. Like, how many of these games? I mean, honestly, we probably will lose either Miami or Philadelphia. One of those two games. You got to think about those games as 50-50. And then the other ones, Orlando tomorrow in Orlando. Sorry, that's a game we need to win. We have get back at Orlando for the last time we played them. And then Houston here in Toronto. Hey, come on. And then we go to New York to play them in New York on the last game of the season. They're not going to have anything to play for at that point. They're going to be eliminated from the play-in by then. I don't care how hot they are and how they're trying to streak to get in the play-in at this point. They're going to be playing for nothing on the last day of the season. So that should be an interesting game, playing in New York in Madison Square Garden on the last game of the season. And then, of course, the Atlanta game also. I can't overlook Atlanta. That will be a tough game, but it is a very winnable game also for the Raptors. Let's see what you guys are saying. Tom Dukes here. Morning. Thought the waffle place was closed, but then we ended up with plenty and extra syrup. Oh my gosh, Tom's alluding to how the game was going early. And maybe it was going to be one of these classic back and forth battles, very close game till the end. But boy, we did get a chance to pour some syrup on at some point when we widened that nice lead in the second half and we just dominated them. It's like, listen, I'm telling you, Minnesota waved that white flag very early in the game last night. I was like, they're just giving up already. Like, that is not the kind of team I like to root for. I like to root for a team like our team that doesn't give up and is relentless until the very end. It doesn't matter if they're down by 20. They have a belief that they can make up 20 points in 5 minutes like that. And you know what? It is a reality. It's not crazy daydreaming. Our team can make up those kind of deficits. So it must be deflating and frustrating for Timberwolf fan who's had mixed success this year, had really good year in some ways, but it doesn't bode well for them in the playoffs because you have to be hardened like a nut, like a chestnut, to make it through the playoffs and do this kind of stuff. And I don't think they got it. I think that in some ways, I hate to say it, and I may be a little insulting right now, Chris Finch is like the Wish version of Nick Nurse. I'll say it right now. How about that one for you, Greg? You might want to use that quote. Chris Finch is the Wish version of Nick Nurse. How about that? Tom's also saying team is focused, and so is the coaching staff. Brilliant move starting Precious over Scotty at the half. That was very interesting what happened there. I was like, whoa, when I was watching, I was like, they benched Scotty. And he looked a little pissed off on the bench, like, this is not good. But I understand why Nick did it. And you know what? It was actually Scotty's idea partly. He was the one who suggested it during the halftime. He said, I'm not playing aggressive or well enough, coach, in the first half. Why don't you pop Precious in and I'll come off the bench in the second half? And it actually was a brilliant move. It did a couple of different things that was badass. First of all, Scotty has been shown in the last couple of games less aggression than normal. Like, I don't know if it was the stakes or the feeling of that Boston game the other night. He shied away a little bit and he let the other vet Raptors around him kind of carry the load and show him the way, whereas he's kind of still learning in that kind of high pressure, really high caliber opponent. So last night, it was a similar kind of thing. There was a bit of that physicality we're talking about in the first quarter where Minnesota came out and they were the more physical team. They were getting the calls, and Scotty once again shied away from it. He wasn't finding shots. He wasn't being aggressive and stuff like that. Nick didn't like it. So he benched him for a good little bit of time. And then that decision was made at halftime, and that was brilliant, honestly. It did a twofold things. Obviously, it rewarded Precious for fantastic play in the first half and allowed him to, it was a better defensive matchup also that got us off to the right start in the third quarter so that we could set up for really good success in the second half. And then Scotty got a chance to sit on the bench and kind of soak in that kind of feeling of like, I'm failing in this game slightly, but I want to change that and have an outside perspective from sitting on the bench and seeing how they operate and how they do things. And there was no telling when he was going to get back in. I knew he would get back in at some point in the second half, but it was no telling. And when he did come back in, you saw a different Scotty. I mean, he only had 6 points in the first half, and he like 2 baskets and 2 free throws. And then he made most of his points in the fourth quarter. And he ended up with 17 points last night, something like that. 17 points on 7 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 from the line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. And, that stuff, he didn't shoot bad. He wasn't shooting bad. It's just he wasn't looking for a shot or being aggressive with the ball with the shot, but he did later on. And that was kind of cool too, because we had different Raptors chipping in at different times and coming up big in different ways. And I'm going to talk more about our two main guys, Fred and Pascal, very soon, because I know we'll have to. Oh, yeah. But brilliant move. Great for the development of Scotty and the perspective of him having, nothing's granted to you, Scotty. You don't just get it. You need to be aggressive. You need to produce, or we will put Precious in, or we will put Chris Boucher in, because we need production. And that's the whole reason why some of those guys at the end of the bench don't get to play anymore, is that these minutes that we put these guys out there have to be premium. They have to be all out on defense and running all around. And then you have to be doing things on the other end to help us win. And it doesn't matter if it's scoring sometimes, like Pascal last night. Pascal had a really hard time getting his offense going. They were really keying on him. Chris Finch had a great plan for trying to stop Pascal Siakam last night. But you know what he did? He did everything else. He got out there and he was a facilitator. He had his career high in assists. He had more assists last night than points. And he still ended up being the player of the game last night, the one they interviewed at the end of the game. That is a testament to his all-around play. And how even if he's not scoring 40 points, even if he's not a go-to guy over and over again, beating them over the head on the offensive end for us, then he can be really, really quality minutes and doing everything else. Like we saw him on his low post defense, once again, getting these blocks like he did on Derek White against Boston the other night. He did it again last night a couple times. Just really good position defense. He was guarding Towns a lot last night, and Towns had a bad game, guys. I'm telling you right now, this man, what did he get? 60 points in the last couple of weeks, and we held Karl Anthony Towns last night to 16 points. That is really good, y'all. That is really, really good. And we saw how dominant he could be in bursts, like those little drives to the basket. And Jack and Matt are talking about that guy plays like he's 6'3", not 7'3". The way he moves and he dribbles around. He's a fantastic talent. And honestly, if he was on the Raptors, we'd be winning championships left and right. Left and right if we had a franchise player like him. Oh my gosh. But yeah, wow. I really like Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's a great player. I feel sad because he's kind of following the footsteps of Kevin Garnett, being stuck for the meat of his really, really good young years in Minnesota, and there may never, ever get anywhere. He may find that it's very similar to Kevin, that he didn't get anything there, and he has to go somewhere else to get the championship that he wants, like Kevin did. And thought it was very telling before the Boston-Minnesota game on Sunday night. Karl Anthony Towns entered that arena in Boston with a green jacket that looked like a Celtics jacket. And I hate to say it, Minnesota. I know he's been really loyal to y'all and stuff like that. But at some point, he's going to say, I don't want any more of this. I'm gone and I'm out. And that sucks. And that sucks for y'all. But it's just hard to build everything in a market like Minnesota to a winning level, because the good things that you have, they leave. And then you get a couple of the good things, but they don't get them all at the same time. So I feel bad for them in some ways. I feel bad for Cat personally, just because of his tragedies during the pandemic with losing his mother and other family members. Just a classy, good dude. I really do like Cat a lot. Let me keep going here. James Mallard, good to see you. Another new name this morning. We're here live every morning from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll pop in for like an hour or two, and I'll just talk with you guys in the chat, live streaming about everything Raptors is happening. Today, it's reacting to the Timberwolves game last night. He's saying hey to Tom and saying hey to Clink. I know you probably know them from his channel over there. Yeah, James Mallard. Oh, my God. It's the Banton hater. Uh-oh, Greg. Why do you hate Banton, James Mallard? What did he do to you? He's from Toronto. He's our native son. He's our first ever Toronto Raptor draft pick that's Canadian. He wears the 45, which means the bus. You gotta love that guy. Oh my gosh, he's in his first year. First of all, I'll be apologist for him real quick. He's gonna make mistakes. He's a rookie, but he's way ahead of schedule. I love the things that I'm gonna expect from Delano Banton over the years. But anyway, all right, we'll see. I'll let him say something, but there's my first appeal to him about Delano. Tom Duke saying good morning with a very happy superstar eyes. Click 2M's here. He's saying teams like the Magic and Knicks have nothing to lose. The only thing they can do now is upset teams. Friday is a must win. Must be treated like a game 7, to be honest. Well, it's two ways, Click, at this point. Are they trying to play spoiler? Are they trying to just personally grudge and fuck up teams with their plans, with their record in different ways? No, these guys want to lose so they get better positioning. These guys actually may be tanking at this point. And somebody said the other day that Cleveland played Orlando and they really didn't put up much of a fight and they rolled over for them in some ways. This is what I'm really hoping will happen tomorrow night. Like, sure, maybe they want to do something because it's Jalen Suggs and Scotty Barnes and that whole rookie bullshit from last summer, and there's stuff to prove there. Franz Wagner's like, I want to be rookie of the year, and he comes and he tries and does some shit. But really, we need to make sure we win. I don't understand why Orlando would want to win the game because right now, really in the position they're in, they want the losses in some ways. But yeah, there's two sides to it. Do they want to be spoilers? Do they want to try and play for something still right now? Or has the franchise folded for the year and they're just kind of going ahead and taking the L's because they want to get more ping pong balls? I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. And sometimes I feel like that's unfair because they may pick and choose who they're like, we'll calculate a loss against this team for sure. But boy, we'll really play the Raptors. No, fuck that. Don't do that, Orlando. Just let us beat your ass, please. We're going to come down to Orlando tomorrow night with a whole big jug of Canadian maple syrup, 100% Canadian maple syrup. And we want to pour that syrup on thick, get a double-digit lead, and beat y'all by 20 or 30 points on Friday night. That's what I'd love to see. Oh, yeah. Because we do have some get back against Orlando. They embarrassed us in that little 2-game back-to-back with Detroit and Orlando. Both those teams embarrassed us at that time after the All-Star break. And I hated that. So yeah, we got some get back for them. We do. Because it's weird. I look at my calendar right now. I'm just about to flip it. It's the 31st. We're going to go to April tomorrow. And the record for the Raptors for this month is 11-5. And that is fantastic. And if I told you we were going to go 11-5 in the month of March 2022, and we'd beat Denver, we'd beat Phoenix, we'd beat Philadelphia, we'd beat Boston, and we'd lose to Detroit and Orlando, and they would be 2 of the 5 losses, and the other 11 wins that we've had this month, that's fantastic. This has been a badass month with really low lows and in some incredible highs. And I like that we have 2 really good win streaks in this month. Also, that 5-game road trip and then the 4-game homestand that were just finished up just now. Fantastic work by the Raptors in the month of March in 2022. Greg saying Pascal was both sweet and spicy last night. This dude is a badass. I was like, this guy, he's still getting the interview at the end of the game. Like they're still interviewing him. They should have been talking to Gary Trent, but no, Pascal got this triple-double. He was saying in the press conference after the game, he really hopes they don't go back and rewatch it because yeah, he's a little scared that they might do this shit that they did to him after the Milwaukee game this season. Oh my gosh, that was such bullshit that they went back and took that triple-double away from him. The rebound that they took away from him in that situation was a team rebound that him and Chris brought down together. And it's so fucked up that they just switched one rebound like that to a team rebound, and they took away his second triple-double, which was actually in that amazing win against Milwaukee the day after we got beat by Detroit in that embarrassing game. This should have been his third triple-double last night. You know, with other superstars, would you be counting that team rebound that way? Or would you be straight up to somebody like Nikola Jokic or, somebody like that? I think you would probably give him the benefit of the doubt. It's fucked up. And in some ways, I feel like it was a weird retribution for us upending the Milwaukee Bucks like that in that game. It's like, oh, well, you don't get your triple-double for Pascal. Fuck you for that, NBA. And you better not be reviewing the game last night and coming back in like 2 or 3 days saying that there was a team rebound between him and OG Anunoby where they both had their hands on the ball and he doesn't have another triple-double. Fuck you, NBA, for doing that to him. And I totally understand why in the press conference last night, he's like, yeah, I got a triple-double, but he's a little like, I hope so. Let's see if it takes in the next 5 days. Oh, my gosh. So messed up how they do those triple doubles and that stuff like that. Tom Duke saying, hi, everybody loves Banton. Yes, everyone loves Banton. What is not to love about Banton? Look at his hair. Look at the way he carries himself. Look how cool he is. He's like if Snoop Dogg was a basketball player, he'd be Delano Banton. That's what I feel like. He's like Canadian Snoop Dogg from Toronto. That's who he is to me. And he's a real one, man. This dude knows our city so well. He's a badass. I love Delano Banton. in the 45 bus. It's just a badass whole thing about it. And part of the legend of the Raptors is having him here. And he's going to be an important player in the years to come. He's going to develop into some badass stuff. I really see the future is bright for him. Oh, yeah. Clink saying at Click 2 a.m. Amen, dude. No TRP games. All are NBA pros, and they are supremely talented. I don't know. That it's like I said, they can go one or two ways. Either they're going to tank and try and get more ping pong balls, or they do have some, something to play for in that moment. Ooh, we just want to beat the Raptors. Ooh, we just want to beat, the Boston Celtics because they're like a top team or something like that. We'll see. We can't take any of them lightly, and their competition and their talent level isn't up to us. So we need to go ahead and just stomp them and beat them no matter what. If they want to come and play with a real effort, we'll take them that way. Or if they want to just roll over and be an easy opponent to beat down, we'll take that also. It's because once again, and I want to talk about something that's still getting way out of hand. Maybe I won't talk about it unless y'all bring it up. But once again, we just need to be winning. We don't give a shit about what's happening with the other teams in the shuffling around of the Eastern Conference standings. We can't control the other teams' destinies, whether they're winning or losing. We can only control whether we win. And as long as we keep winning, like we won 4 in a row, I just talked about possibly winning out for the rest of the season, the last 6. That's really controlling our destiny. If we win the last 6 of the games, we might actually get home court advantage in the playoffs. So that is actually something to shoot for. Let's go ahead and win the rest of them and fuck around, and maybe we'll be in the 4th seed. It'd be crazy. It could really happen, though. Seriously, I know that sounds crazy, but it is possible still. All right, let's keep going. Marlon Toby, good morning. Always good to see you, my friend. Timberwolves came out aggressive in the first quarter. We were down about 17. Yeah. And then we step up defense in the second, made shots and crushed them. One of the things that's really troubling about the Raptors' way to start the games is they're not starting by playing defense. These teams are coming out and scoring 30 plus points in the first quarter every game. I hate that. I hate that so much. But it is nice to see, all right, 30 points in the first quarter for Minnesota. 30 points in the second quarter for Minnesota. And then you see in the third, 22, and then 20 for the fourth. That's fantastic. That's the tale of 4 quarters. First quarter, Minnesota wins, and they're up by 10 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, we have a huge offensive burst, shoot the lights out for 3, and boom, we have the lead at halftime. And then the third quarter, that's when Tom Duke and I got the syrup out, and we just started pouring it real heavy right on top of the pancakes, because that's what we love to do. We are pancake syrup enthusiasts, and we love to see when that pancake gets put out there and we just start pouring it on. And then we get a double-digit lead, 15-point lead, 20-point lead. And that syrup was being poured, and the pancakes were being served in the third quarter. And then the fourth, it was just finishing the route. Like I said, Chris Finch waved that white flag very early last night. It was almost seemed like it was near the end of the third quarter. They still had a whole quarter to go, and they were already waving the white flag. Really interesting stuff about it. Tale of 4 quarters, and I love it. But I don't like how we're starting. We cannot start like this in the playoffs and let the teams punch us in the face. And once again, we were missing free throws at the beginning also. So it was very much a very similar start to the Boston game. And that is really why the refs were rewarding the Timberwolves over us in the beginning. But I do love that they were getting in foul trouble also. Like Patrick Beverley got in foul trouble last night. Karl-Anthony Towns got in foul trouble. And that's the difference between Monday night and tonight, is that their team was actually getting fouls also and getting in foul trouble, where the Celtics weren't even close to that kind of shit. And that's where you see the ref manipulation is egregious. But last night it was pretty fair. Bill Kennedy, hey, and I do want to hear you sing some Luther Vandross at a karaoke night. Dude, I would sing some karaoke. We'll just pick different songs and have a karaoke night, Bill Kennedy. I'm all for it. You meet me at Watson's in downtown Toronto, at Spadina and Richmond, and I'll sing some karaoke with you on a Sunday night. If you ever get an off night in Toronto, Bill Kennedy, that's an open invite, because that dude is a badass like karaoke. You can tell his delivery at the ref mic is just so sweet. He has a really good voice. Some of the refs get up there and they sound like some dumb hick, or they sound like they have some crazy voice, but this dude has a smooth voice. Like Bill Kennedy, he could have been, if he wasn't a referee, he could have been like a singer probably. I'll bet you he could have been a real professional singer, seriously, because you can tell his pipes are good. His pipes are real good. Oh yeah, Click 2M saying the Timberwolves are already smiles and giggles when everything goes well, but when everything goes bad, it looks like they don't know what to do and forgot how to play. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the other thing that you test with your teams is their mettle. When they get punched in the face, what do they do? Do they punch back? Do they roll over? Do they take it? Do they understand? Do they band together and somebody just tries to do something? That was what happened with us last night. We got punched in the face at the beginning. And who was it that started saying, no, fuck this shit. We're not going like this. It was Fred VanVleet. Yeah, it was. He had that one 3-point play he made, and then he went to the free throw line to shoot the free throw, and he missed the free throw. It was the only free throw he got last night, and he missed it. And he was mad at himself after that, because you know what he did right after that? He was a hound dog. He was all over them. And that was when he had that little sequence when he kept hounding them and they kept turning the ball over. It was like they kept trying to bring the ball to the court. And Fred was right there. He had him in the corner. He made him dribble it off his foot. He caused like 2 or 3 turnovers in a row right after he missed that free throw. And that was badass. And the even more badass part of it is, listen, earlier in the day yesterday, Michael Grange tweeted that he was watching Fred VanVleet in his afternoon practice, and he looked like he was moving around like there was no trouble at all. Like we have been seeing Fred in the last couple of weeks look like he's been running in mud, looking like he's running on half a flat tire. And boy, did he not look like that. He was fluid and moving around so badass. Like we are all worried about the nagging injuries of the Raptors and how they may affect them on the stretch run. But it looked like Gary and Fred in particular have both shook in some of that in the last week or so. Like last night, they both looked great the way they were moving around. We saw Gary do his little, he's the one player on the team, like Pascal, a couple of guys that can really do stuff in isolation one-on-one with his shot and make it. He had that little turnaround shot on the baseline that he made. Like he was in the corner, the shot clock was running out, and he had to do something. He just did his little turnaround flip shot over at the baseline. He hit it. That's the kind of stuff I love. And he does that stuff when he's feeling good. And Fred VanVleet doesn't get around like that up and down the court and being like a defensive dog like that if he's not feeling good too. So that was really awesome to see. That Grange was right. Michael Grange was right when he said he saw Fred VanVleet moving around like nothing's hurting him right now. And we saw it in the game last night. And that really was turning the tide right there, because Fred showed that kind of defensive intensity with his steals in that part of the first half. And the refs started changing their calls and helping us at that point, because they saw the effort by our cap, and he was out there laying it out there, and they're like, we're going to reward him. There's all kinds of great stuff about having veterans on our team like Fred VanVleet and Thaddeus Young. At the beginning of the game, I saw Thaddeus Young come up to Bill Kennedy and the referees, and he was pounding around with them like they all know each other for years, because they have. He's been in the league forever. So that is a really also once the things is really an X factor with the addition of Thaddeus Young this year, is that he is an ambassador for the Raptors on the court, not only with other former teammates that may be playing on the other team, coaches that he may have played under that we're playing against, but also the referees. He has a long-standing relationship with these refs, and that can't be a bad thing for the Raptors. That we may have lacked that for this season, that we haven't had these really long, like elder statesman kind of Raptor player on our team. And when we got him, it was supposed to be Goran, that fuck, but it was bad when he came. He's filling in that for us now. And not only that, oh my gosh, let's talk about Thaddeus real quick. He once again had one of these really incredible glue games where he was doing everything in all the stat categories, where he's hitting a couple threes here, getting some blocks, getting a steal here, rebounding here. And then what did he do late in the game? They're calling him Thad Young Legs last night. And it's funny because they were all asking him after the game. They asked Nick Nurse, they asked Gary Trent, they asked Pascal about Thaddeus's left-handed jam. Paul B, it's got to be on the dunk countdown at the end of the year. We got to put the Thaddeus left-handed jam that came out of nowhere, that Young Legs showed up all of a sudden. How did he get up there? Pascal even said, I don't think I get up that high. That Thaddeus got up there. And that was pretty badass dunk. I loved seeing that. And it's always cool when it's with the left hand sometimes. That just gives it an extra point for badassery. It's the left hand dunk. Oh, yeah, it was badass. I loved it. Okay, let's keep going. Clink saying, I got your Finch quote. It's on the record. Did you see my production of your new singles? No, I got to go and review. If you're making more and more new stuff, I tried to find the burning down the house clip, but I couldn't find it. I was looking through your content the other day, and I just couldn't find it. I was looking at different places, but I'll go look for it more deeply when I have a little bit more time. I've been really time crunched this week also, but I'm definitely going to check and see all that kind of stuff. Because it's interesting. Yeah, go see Greg's channel. I'm sure some of you guys are already subscribers to the Jubstown Clink. Great Raptors content, always talking about what different people are doing in different places with their content, and also just great insight, kicking it back with Greg, and he's telling you what he's seeing and stuff like that. He has a very similar mind to mine as far as seeing the X's and O's and the different stuff that's going out there on the court and different things. Very insightful, observational person who has some really good stuff to say very often about what's going on in the game. Very insightful stuff. Tom Duke saying, wow, Scotty came up with that. He is a winner. Yeah, it was Scotty's idea. It's crazy. Nick said that after the game. I was like, yeah, he said, you know what, Precious? Maybe you should start the second half because you're playing better defensively than I am and you're playing more aggressive. I mean, the man was hitting his threes again like crazy. Like, it's insane that Precious Achiuwa is one of our most steady 3-point shooters at this point in the season. Who would have fucking called this at the beginning of the year, that Precious would be one of the most steady, important 3-point shooters that we have on our team? That's amazing and such a hidden bonus. It's like this year's been full of hidden bonuses, whether it's the Gary Trent defense with the steals and stuff we found at the beginning of the season. We find this development and this veteran savvy already inherent in our rookie. And then we get this guy from Miami who's not supposed to be able to shoot. And all of a sudden he's a dead eye for three. It's so badass and just a testament to the development and creativity of our coaching staff and how they're doing things. It's so good. James Mallard saying at Clink, I do not hate Banton. Okay. All right. I don't know you yet. So they're just saying this and saying this. All right. I'm sure you love Toronto and you love Delano Banton, Toronto's favorite son. Click 2AM saying Yuda is finished, posterized again. Listen, man, this may be part of his thing, bro. I don't have any problem with Yuda doing that because that's actually that's balls, y'all. That's balls. You think if we were out on the court, we would have the balls to do that with that Reed guy coming out there? That dude was dominating at different times in the game last night. Like, his size really hurt us. In some ways, he was doing stuff that Cat should have been doing more of because that Reed guy, Naz Reed, he was killing us last night. I really did not like seeing how dominant he got in that game. He was only 3 for 7, so he's missing the bunnies a bit there, but 6 rebounds, 9 points. He seemed like he did way more damage to us. And then obviously that dunk, yeah, that was nasty. But once again, what did Yuda say? We should expect this. 100 times out of 100 times, he will jump and challenge them. And it's, in some ways, it's like it's more built up in our culture here that, ooh, you got posterized, ooh, you got dunked on, that makes them feel bad. And in some ways, that's kind of a way that people try and stop people from doing that. It's like, oh, you don't want to be embarrassed. But you know what? Who gives a shit if you don't get embarrassed by that? In fact, that's very admirable and courageous to me, what he did. But yeah, people are like, yeah, posterized again. And then, of course, when it happens, they cut to the bench and you see Anthony Edwards going like, he's like, yeah, somebody else did it. He's like, that guy again. You. He's like pointing at you to like, we got you again. I'm like, what the fuck? This is so crazy. If that's their victory for the night, go ahead and let them have it. That had nothing to do with the win. That just had to do with selling posters. That's fine. Yes. Oh, Tom Duke is saying, Click 2AM, so true. Wolves would be brutal to cheer for. So much promise led by a vet like Beverley. No wonder they whine, trash talk so much. I didn't think they were that bad. And actually, I was very impressed with Patrick Beverley last night. He was a really good guy out there. He was very friendly to the Raptors. I think he has a friendship with Pascal Siakam because they, at the end of the game, they embraced and they were saying good things to each other. He doesn't seem like he has as much of an edge against us as he does maybe going against other guys in the West that he hates for years and years. Like, there's some real feuds that Patrick Beverley has. And that's got to be tiresome. You know, you got to have these different people that are out to get you and you're out to get them and stuff like that. Maybe Toronto is just a team that he doesn't have that much animosity towards, or maybe he just doesn't have problems with us for the most part. Sure, there's the dirty, scrappy stuff that he's doing out on the court, but for the most part, it's not venomous. And also, the other thing is, I think maybe we built some respect with him, because Gary Trent did not back down to him in the last game that we played against them. That when they had that little exchange, that he actually gained a lot of respect for Gary. that you see, I can't punk this guy because he's not going to allow me to. Because there was a moment last night where Gary hit the floor underneath the basket and Patrick was over there helping him get up. And I don't even think Patrick was in the game. He was actually on the bench and he pulled him up to help him just out of respect. So there's something about that warrior mentality of respect and stuff like that that I kind of like about him in a way. But yeah, he wasn't effective last night. Of course, I'd hate him if he was killing us. He hit a three here and there, but not really. And like if he was killing us and we'd lost last night, yeah, I'd hate him. But in some ways, I was like, he showed a real kind of humanistic side to him last night that I actually kind of really liked, especially the way he was treating our players with respect and like helping them up and stuff like. He doesn't have to do stuff like that. I'm sure he doesn't do that for some Western Conference teams. Oh yeah, it's very cutthroat. So yeah, Pat Beverley's a weird player. And yeah, it'd be really hard to be a Wolves fan. Like that is masochistic. Like, we had it bad. We understand what expansion years are like. We understand what like 20 win seasons, 30 win seasons are like. We do. But we're pretty far away from it at this point. Whereas Minnesota has had to deal with it coming on and off their whole existence. They've had good years where they've done really well, but not very well. And then they had really, really bad years and stuff like that. So you can see how it wears on somebody like Karl Anthony Towns over the years. This is bullshit. What the fuck are we doing? Are we getting any better? But he did say in his post-game interview that he feels really good about this season because he has a coach that he really likes, that he feels like is working them towards winning. And then also he has a good new teammate, Patrick Beverley, and a couple other vets that are with him that he feels really comfortable and happy having around him. So it's a weird team. It's like they're below us, and I feel bad for them, even though their record is very similar to us. That's what says something weird about the West and the East and how the competition's different in different ways. That they have kind of the same record as us on the other side, and they're still in the play-in and stuff, but we're out of the play-in. It's all with the way that things are skewed over the whole plane of things and stuff like. Very interesting. James Mallard saying at Greg, we rolled out 5 long-arm monsters in the second and took over, and then in the fourth too. Then Nurse put the featherweights in the fourth too. Yeah, I described our team at the beginning of the season as a phalanx of 6'7", 6'8" centurions, that we are going to send our phalanx of centurions out there and just stymie other teams with our length all over and stuff like that. And we did see last night the Raptors utilize their length overall to mismatch them way more often last night, much more successful than we did against Boston on Monday night, using the mismatches and different things like that. And the interesting thing was it wasn't necessarily post stuff. It was mismatches on the outside. The big mismatch last night is D'Angelo Russell, because that dude don't play good defense. And that's part of the reason why we were getting so many good open three-point looks, is you just figure out how to chase them, get them to chase around. They won't recover. And then boom, Gary Trent has a wide open three. Badass stuff. And it was really, really cool that we had so many guys shooting so well from three-pointer last night. I mean, OG was 4 for 4 in the first half. He took all 4 of his threes in the first half, made all of them. Fred had 2 threes, key ones at different times. Gary was 6 for 8. Thad was 2 for 3 from 3. Precious had 3 for 7. They were really hitting their threes nice. And that's cool that we had 50% field goal shooting and 50% three-point shooting for last night. Fantastic. Really good. I love hitting threes like that. That's so badass and fun. It's so good. Oh my gosh. But yeah, those 2 quarters in particular, James, really good defense and holding them down. Not necessarily the second as far as the defense. It was really more offense, which is really badass. But then in the second half, our defense did settle down and really, really stymied them in different ways. They were having an easy time with Cat in the first half, and they were getting, like, Anthony Edwards did kill us in the first half. He was hitting threes, he was getting to the basket and stuff like that. But did we see Anthony Edwards do a whole lot in the second half? No, we didn't. We did not. So good defensive effort in the second half, not in the first quarter. In the second quarter, yeah, sure, but they still did get 30 points, that kind of stuff. All right, let's keep going. Rank Scrub, good to see you again. Yuda needs to be the help defender more. I just want to see Yuda play more. I feel bad. I feel like the writing's on the wall in some ways for him and Svi. Like, I don't see how they can keep Svi on this team in any kind of way. I don't know what his contract is, if he's going to be back next year for sure, but Yeah, these guys are in trouble because even when they got in late, they didn't look super, super good. Yuda was okay. Like, I like that he challenged that dunk, but they really had 4 minutes and they didn't get any points. They didn't do hardly anything out there in that time. So not necessarily good. Delano got 4 points out of that little bench crew that came in at the end. And Armani got 2 rebounds, but he didn't attempt a shot. But yeah, they could have done a whole lot more in the end just to try and get a spotlight and stuff like that. I mean, we don't have to play Armani now because he's not trying out. He's just kind of stashed there on the bench. But I would like him to play Armani more, especially when there was somebody like Patrick Beverley out there. It just seemed like a good matchup for him to be up against. All right, let's keep going. Soldier, good to see you again. Good morning, beautiful people. Yes, Soldier, always good to see you when you show up. It's great day to be a Raptor fan. Oh yeah, great day to be a Raptor fan. Things are on the up and up. And once again, very interesting. The standings have shuffled around again. And as it stands right now, we would play the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. It's like every morning we get up, there's a different opponent staring against us on the other side because of the nature of how close everything is. We were playing Milwaukee in the first round earlier this week. Then we were playing Boston in the first round. Right now, we're set up to play Philadelphia. It's that much of a roll of the dice right now with everything shuffled around with wins and losses and the different teams. We don't know where we're going to end up. Like I said, if we win out, we could be number 4. So let's go for it, Raptors. Just keep winning. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see what Greg is saying here at James. Haha, now everyone here thinks you hate Banton too. Yes, the 5 LAMs kicked ass and took the game over. Well spotted, and I got footage of the featherweights too. The 5 LAMs. I gotta know your short vernacular. I'm not sure with the 5 LAMs kicked ass and took the game over. I'm having trouble. I don't know what the 5 LAMs is. I'm missing the connection there. But yeah, we won't think that James hates Banton until he says it. You just because you said it doesn't mean we think he hates it. So don't worry, James. Until you say something and then it's proven, I won't believe that. He's just trying to paint you in a bad light right off the start. So all right, let's see what James says back to him. That's the last straw, Clink. I'm unsubscribing from you. I will have Banton's babies. You can quote me. And that is a big deal because he seems to be male gendered. And that would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of stuff from that crazy movie where he had a baby. And that's a big deal. James Mallard is willing to go on Maury Povich and have a baby bump for this argument, James. Wow, you are dedicated. And Greg, I think he might not be a Banton hater if he's willing to go and do this. He was willing to have Banton's babies. That's like usually not, that's a toxic relationship if he doesn't like Banton and he's still having his babies. So that's all I'm going to say right there. We may need to call Maury Povich, but we'll see. Rank Scrub is saying Banton sunk a foul line jumper, so maybe that could happen again. Banton was so strong at the beginning of the season, and we are giving him such good look. And because he's such a unique talent, he was showing off some really crazy stuff like that half-court shot. The start off his whole NBA career was badass, and he was doing so many cool things in the beginning. We've really kind of pulled the leash on him lately. He really has become more of the rest of the bench guys like them, like Yuda and Svi, and kind of just in reserve for in case. And part of it is that we got Thad, and we have these other guys that are really in the core now. The core really is these 6'9" guys with Fred, and that's it. It's like they switch in Chris and Cam and Precious and Thad with our core starters, and that's how we're doing it now. And Delano, being a rookie and being in development, he's just not going to get the time right now. But more and more over the years to come, he's going to be invited into that core at some point again. I'm sure. I'm positive about it. Raymond Jacobs saying Delano plus James's babies. I don't know. I don't think that's how it works. Well, Raymond, medical science has really come a long way. There are men having babies now. This is actually very true. Like there's a guy on Survivor, was on Survivor, whose husband or male partner was having a baby while they're on Survivor. And he's like, I'm so worried. My partner's about to have a baby and I'm here and stuff like that. It was in the last season and stuff like that. So this is a reality of the world today. This is medical science and all this kind of stuff. People would get into like that is a abomination of nature or something like. No, it's just things are things, and people want to do things, and freedom through technology allows people to do, and people should be open-minded, live their own damn lives, and let them live their lives and do the things they want to do if it's able and not hurting anyone and doing good things for them in their lives. So it is weird. Yeah, Raymond Jacob, that is weird. But it also shows the dedication that James has towards to Delano Banton, that he's like trying to debunk Greg, tearing him down, saying he's a Banton hater. He's saying, no, I'm not a Banton hater. I'm willing to take his seed and put it in my belly and grow a new human being. That's how much a Banton non-hater I am. Oh, yeah, I'm willing to go through 9 months of labor, carrying a child around and feeling like what women have felt for many, many years. You know, that is a dedication. And it sounds like he likes Banton if he's going to have his baby. I mean, seriously, Callie's here. Good to see Callie. I always love seeing Callie. Callie's one of my favorites. What a game. The passing and shooting, even Fred passing. I went from swearing and losing my mind in the first quarter to sitting back and enjoying the game. Oh, yeah, that stress meter maybe came in a little hot right at the beginning. We saw the referees doing a little bit of a replay from Monday night and was like, Callie's like, is this going to be another grinder for the whole game where I'm just going to not like this and it's not going to be an enjoyable game? No, it changed. Our guys came out, like I said, and did some badass shit in the second quarter, really good scoring with the 3-pointers, and it just got fun. It really got fun at a certain point, and it was just badass, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Hopefully we can have more of these kind of games against Orlando coming up, and then some of these more softer opponents coming up. Now, the Sunday game, I'm going to start talking about the Sunday game more and more coming up because this is an important game. This is an extremely important game for a major, major reason. And last season, I did a show. I was covering the Raptors last season on Instagram. I did a juice show where I was combining my love of juicing fruits and vegetables with the Raptors previews. And I would basically juice a juice and talk about the Raptors, preview the game. It's all on Instagram. You can see the archive from last year on there, the whole shitty Toronto and Tampa COVID year. I did a show for every single game last year. And I talked a lot about Kyle Lowry and his status with the Raptors and whether he was going to be a Raptor next year after all this pandemic shit was going on. And it's a very sad, bittersweet season when you start to realize that Kyle Lowry's never, ever going to play in Toronto again in a Toronto uniform, possibly. And it was really sad. So this game on Sunday is going to be very emotional. And I myself may be very emotional on Sunday morning's preview. I have to tell y'all right now, because there's a lot of hurt about this pandemic that's tied in with Kyle Lowry for me. And all right, I want to start it today. But anyway, we're going to move on. All right. Click saying the Magic want to pull off an upset, the only thing they have left. Yeah, I mean, they want bragging rights. They want to feel good because they beat the Raptors. Maybe even like if they win this game, they win the season series against us, stuff like that. It's going to be really interesting. I want to see the effort. Jalen, they have a lot of injuries right now. I'm going to do the work tonight and talk about it tomorrow, but they have interesting injuries right now. They have interesting things going on with their team right now with who they have to play and stuff like that. We have no business losing to them again. We've lost one too many times to them already this season. And the other thing is the first time we played them, I was at that game when we played at them at the beginning, near the beginning of the season in Toronto, when we won by 1 point. That game was way too close. And Cole Anthony taking a 3 from half court could have easily dropped in and we would have lost that game. So it was really important that Gary got that steal to seal the win in that game at the beginning of the year. But yeah, this is an Orlando team. I don't know what the fuck. Like, we just need to beat their ass. There's like none of this. Like, I don't even want to. I can't believe that if they try and play their ass off and beat us, that's gonna be fucked up to me. Because seriously, they've kind of been rolling over for recent teams recently, and they have been talking about packing it up for the season already. I mean, they're eliminated from the playoffs. What are they playing for? They're playing for bragging rights. They're playing for this. Fuck that. Do that in other games. You don't need to put in a good effort tomorrow night against us or Orlando. Please. Oh, they want to pull off an upset. I hope not, Click. I really do. At Clink's here, at Rank Scrub. Delano had a nice putback when we played the 5 LAM. Okay, your 5 LAM is the 5 LongArm Monster. I now get your acronym, Greg. It's the 5 LongArm Monster. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love that lineup. When Fred's not out there, and sometimes it's not Gary either, that is a badass lineup. And there was a certain lineup at some point. It was either in Boston or the game last night. I'm not positive totally that it was OG and Thad and Pascal and Chris and Precious or something like that. That lineup was badass to me because it had a lot of all kinds of different stuff in it. Scotty wasn't in that lineup particular, but Scotty could be put in for one of those guys. But in particular, I like the OG Thad synergy. I noticed that when they take OG out from the starting lineup for the first time and they bring him back in, they usually introduce him back into the game with Thad at the same time. It's kind of like they put in guys in pairs. Sometimes it'll be Boucher and Birch off the bench together, or it'll be like Thad and OG in at the same time together. And that's good because they have an accrued synergy between them from years of knowing each other and stuff like that. And it's probably fun. They're like, oh, we're going in the game together. It's kind of stuff like that. But yeah, 5 LongArm Monster. That is a badass lineup, and we've seen it from time to time with different combinations. And it's just we got so many different ways we can do it now. But I do like it when it has like those old Raptors like Pascal, OG, and Chris, and then it has like maybe Thad and Precious on the other sides of the other parts because that's that veteran core with those 3 guys from the championship year, and then guys that are similar to them with them. But yeah, okay, I'll realize now Greg's meaning the 5 LongArm Monster. James is saying at Cali, Jack and Matty D were praising the extra passes. I think they said every 3-pointer was assist. Yeah, the ball was moving way better. That was one of the problems with the Boston game. And Greg and I were talking about this on Tuesday, is that the ball just wasn't moving. Our offense was not fluid. We were working really hard to get anything against Boston. But meanwhile, last night, we were getting good dribble penetration, kick out to open threes and stuff like that. And then a lot of nice passing around the outside and stuff like that, things like that. Really easier shots, and they made them. Minnesota's not the best 3-point shooting team anyway. And if you beat them with 3-point shooting, they can't do jack shit to come back against you because they're not going to do well. D'Angelo Russell is not a good player. Like, you don't want him on your team. He hurts you too much on defense, and he doesn't do enough on offense. And I can see why he's been traded around all over the place, whether it's Brooklyn to the Lakers to Minnesota to Golden State, wherever. He's been all over the place, and he hasn't stuck because he's a liability to a degree as a player on the court. He really is. And Jack and Matt last night, once again, Trey Bien performance, but with the call and just the funness of it. Matt Devlin, you are so fun. You're a ball of fun, dude. And Jack Armstrong, you're just Jack Armstrong. You've been Jack Armstrong for a long time. In some ways, you're not as crazy as you used to be, but in some ways, you're just even more badass now. And yeah, I have to say it, Ron Jeremy. I have to say it at least one time every live stream from now on. Ron Jeremy, just once. And that's not a slip of my tongue. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, sorry you were stressed, Callie. Me too. Alexi, that reply I got from Bill was identical to Sue's reply. Very interesting. So Tom Duke, this week we've been talking about writing the NBA head office because of the biased refereeing in the Boston game on Monday night. Sue, regular viewer, wrote them right away. This is a couple times this season she's written the head office about how bad the officiating is, and she got a reply. And I read it on the stream yesterday, word by word. We heard things like, we treat all the players and the teams uniformly and stuff like that. I'm like, well, uniformly, meaning if that uniform is green, you're treating it a certain way uniformly. So you're looking at which color the jerseys are. If that jersey's green, okay, the call is for it. And if that jersey's purple, yeah, they ain't calling it for you. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But yeah, okay, so Tom's saying he got his reply from Bill, and Bill wrote the exact same letter to him that we got to Sue that we read yesterday. So we do know they're just sending out carbon copies. They're probably not even reading what we're saying, and they're just trying to say they're on the up and up. Well, last night I had to say they're on the up and up for the most part, but maybe Timberwolves fan doesn't feel like that. And, you know, it's a different kind of refereeing that happened in the game last night than the one against Boston on Monday. Oh, yeah, it's really bad. And Tom Duke is all about being a pancake or waffle enthusiast. You know, we said yesterday, it doesn't have to be a pancake. If you like waffles, make it a waffle. If you like Eggos, make it an Eggo. If you like crepes, make it a crepe. We're a bilingual country. So the one thing that matters, if that syrup that you're using, it has to be 100% Canadian maple syrup from a Canadian maple tree. We don't want no Miss Buttersworth involved in this. We don't want no American syrup. We want that Canadian syrup to be 100% maple syrup from a Canadian maple tree. And that's how we pour it on real thick and get that 20-point victory. That's what we want. We want syrup real thick so it's 20-point lead. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the lead. That syrup has to be thick. Just pour it on real nice. Callie saying, I love seeing Beverley bitch and jump up and down. His headband was a problem last night. Like, what the fuck, man? Get a better headband. We got guys that wear headbands like that, like Precious. Precious is always adjusting his headband. His headband comes a little bit up. He's putting it back down. Gary's fixing his headband. He was doing crazy shit with his hair flipped over in his eyes at the beginning of the season. He had to do all kinds of shit with his headband. Patrick Beverley, you need to tighten up your headband. Your headband's getting on the court and it looks like it's a very dangerous situation. Like Jack was freaking out about, oh, his headband's on the court. His headband's on the court. That could hurt someone. Well, that's kind of true. And they had to keep calling timeouts or do things. They had to help him get his headband fixed. Patrick, go get a better headband or just make it work better. Tighten it up or something like that. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. Raymond Jacob is saying Bill Kennedy was that light, dark-skinned ref, right? Yeah, he's not a jerk to the Raptors. I like when he refs. Well, the stats don't lie, Raymond. When Bill Kennedy's out there, out of all the 20-year refs, the refs that have been refereeing at least 20 years, he is our highest win percentage underneath him. We win 56% of our games when Bill Kennedy is involved in the refereeing. And I love that. And once again, his delivery, his golden pipes at the referee table with the microphone, he has the best voice out of all the referees. There's one ref that sounds like George W. Bush that I hate. Like he gets up there, he's like, Toronto chance ball and nuclear. Or something like that. He just sounds like a hick. You can tell he's like, oh, where is this fucking bumpkin who's calling our game here and stuff like that. But yeah, Bill Kennedy's a real one. I like him. And like I said, his hidden talent is karaoke. He sings karaoke and he loves Luther Vandross. I'm saying, I love karaoke too. Bill Kennedy, let's go sing some karaoke together and let's build some goodwill between you and the Raptors franchise. As a fan, I would love to take you to karaoke and I'll buy you a steak dinner and I'll even serenade you with some Luther Vandross, your favorite artist, because I can sing some Luther. Oh, my love, this love, never gonna stop. I'm sorry, I don't know the lyrics, but you know that Luther Vandross song. Oh, yeah, it's good. Clink saying at Tom Duke, I got the same one too. Okay, so you got the same reply also. So we know that they're carbon copying this shit out to everybody. Yep, okay, we understand what's going on, NBA. You're just blanket response, and you're not even reading our emails, I'll bet. You don't even fucking know what we're saying. Click 2AM saying Gary is our best shot creator. When the other team is locking us up, he has so many moves in his bag to get a bucket. His footwork is impeccable. Yeah, we need sometimes I worry about the Raptors having to work off of each other too much, or maybe doing the isolation too much with Pascal or with Fred in different ways. They try and isolate and just break teams down and go to the basket. But I like how Gary does his isolation more because it's usually a spin or a sidestep or something like that. And it's really good for when we're running out of time on the shot clock. Like this dude can manufacture a good looking shot in any situation at any point in the shot clock. And it's been tough with his injuries recently and different time where he's been out and he's not been on. He's maybe missed a lot of shots. It's been tough. But he's a streak shooter. And when he gets going and he gets good, clean looks, he is our best shooter by far. And I love it. I love it, Click 2. We have different weapons. We have this kind of scheme we're playing, but each one of our guys brings a different intangible. If you think about it, you like Chris with the hustle, the offensive rebounds, the length, the shot blocking threat. And then you got Gary, who's a threat to steal the ball in transition. And then he's bombing threes, creating his own shot on offense. You think about all the things that Pascal has in his bag, which is pretty much everything. And then Fred, what he's doing, he's like key 3-pointers, reading the game and reading the transition. And well, I could just pull up and hit this tree right now because they're laying off of me, that kind of shit. So each one of these guys has different bags of tricks and they're very interesting tool bags, like with all kinds of different stuff. Like the stuff with Scotty and Precious is just outstanding and interesting for the future and what's going to happen. And OG is doing so many unspoken things on the court whenever he's out there, whether it's the help defense that he does or just the physicality that he brings out there in general. Like they were saying this week, I forget who it was. You can tell OG is strong by the way he runs. You can tell how strong he is by the way he runs. I think that was on the hustle play with Thad and Chris. You can tell how strong OG is because of the way he runs. He's so measured in his body, and he is deceivingly strong. Like, I'll bet OG, like, if we had this strongman contest and they talked about it in the past, who was the strongest player in the NBA? Shaq. They even said Louis Scola was one of the strongest players in the league for a while there. But I'll bet OG's up there. I'll bet OG's in like the top 15 of the very strongest players in the NBA right now. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. I believe that. But yeah, Gary himself, just that, like I said earlier, that spin move he did on the baseline to get that shot near the end of the shot clock where he just turned away and he flipped and he shot it over the guy by making room. Fantastic stuff. I love seeing that stuff. Raymond Jacobs saying, Lex, I think it was Clink's most recent upload. Yeah, it's so funny. Okay, I'll go check it out, Raymond. Thanks for letting me know. Like I said, I've been really busy lately this week with different things. There's been a lot of games, and then I've got other things going on in my life and stuff like that I got to take care of and stuff like that. So I will make sure I go watch it today for sure. Duke Rock says, Raps bench getting stronger with Thad, Precious, and Boucher. No drop-off when it comes to length. Yeah, no drop-off. It's not like the other teams getting any rest. They see all this length, and they're like, oh, man, when are we going to get a break? When their bench comes in? No, because you just get more of these LAMs coming right at them. Just LongArm Monsters. Just we replenish and we put more tentacles out in different ways with different guys. It's really nasty, and you're right. There's no drop off, dude. They come in and it's just more of the same shit. And teams don't like that. They get frustrated and they're like, oh my gosh, can we get a break? Nope, not against the Raptors. You're not going to get a break. Click to him saying Nas got all his damage in garbage time. Yeah, I mean, he did do some stuff earlier in the game that was like annoying, like dominating. There was one point where he got a rebound, and I'm like, none of our guys are working that hard. He just worked Precious to get that rebound, and he put it back, and I hated that. And that was very early in the game that he was kind of dominating. Him and Cat were dominating in different ways around the basket that I didn't like, but that got all tightened up and changed as the game went on, which was really good. But that dunk was nasty. You know what? I don't fault Yuda. Go ahead, be on all these posters. He did get a poster himself on somebody this year, and that's the one I love, that he posterized somebody else this year. He did, and we'll talk about that. He's going to have so many posters on him, whatever. But hey, maybe that's good in a way. All publicity is good publicity. They see him on more posters everywhere. He's getting his face out there, even if he's getting dunked on. I don't know. Click saying Yuda is going to have a highlight reel being postered. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. Who cares? I honestly think it's a badass trait for him to say. Like, wouldn't we just like to just turn this negative into a positive? Yeah, well, that just shows that he's gutsy and he's crazy. Like, that dude, Reed, is a huge dude. He could really hurt him, and that showed amazing courage. And that's the way we should be spinning it as Raptor fans. The rest of the league can be laughing at him like he's a laughing stock and all that kind of stuff. No, I look at it this way. This dude is putting his life on the line, almost literally, for our team. And I have to admire him for that. And thank you, Yuda, for doing that. You know, it's very dangerous what you did. And you know, your reputation is getting to be more posterized, but who cares? It's that's certain people. That's a certain audience that cares about that kind of shit. That's the people that care about dunks and ESPN highlights. They don't give a shit about winning. They don't just give a shit about effort and the team winning. They just give a shit about looking good. And that's part of the whole NBA in the last few years that I've hated. It's about being a gutsy winner and winning and grinding. And that's grinding what Yuda's doing. The other people that make fun of him, those are ESPN highlight fans. They're fans of players, not teams, stuff like that. That's what I'm saying right there. Okay, let's keep going. Raymond Jacobs saying, I caught Bev on screen many times actually showing love during and after the game to the Raps. Yeah. Listen, maybe he's doing a little down low. He's like, hey, guys, you know, maybe if things don't work out here in Minnesota, you might want a guy like me on your team in the years to come. You know, he's a little old. I don't think I'd ever want Patrick Beverley. We were talking about this yesterday about Marcus Smart and Patrick Beverley, whether we would want those kind of players on the Raptors. Hell yeah, you do. The players that other teams love they hate playing and we love having on your team. Yeah, but yeah, you saw it too, Raymond. He was very respectful and kind and nice to our players, specifically Pascal and Gary. And that was pretty cool. Yeah, Duke's saying Patrick Bev respects dogs over prima donnas. See, there you go. He sees the work ethic. He sees things in himself, in our team, and he respects that. He doesn't respect LeBron. He doesn't respect people like those guys over in the West. He really has more Western arch enemies than Eastern Conference arch enemies. And that's just because he's played most of his career over there with the Clippers and different teams and stuff. So that makes sense. Duke's saying Fred VanVleet wasn't falling for Patrick Beverley's antics. Yeah, that's another thing. If you have a steady, smart point guard who doesn't get out of his head, make dumb mistakes because of Pat Bev, the younger player may really get fucked up by Pat Bev. But Fred's smart. He's a savvy vet. He actually probably uses it to his advantage in different ways. Because, like, we did burn them in different places. Like, Beverley would be out of position. There's Fred bombing a three. There'd be different stuff like that. And, like, also, he was susceptible. Like, we were doing a really good job hounding him when he had the ball and also coughing up some steals in different ways. That was who Fred was pestering really bad at that point. So I like that. Clink saying, I saw Bev doing that too. Yeah, he was good. I have to respect him for that. Listen, we see it all on the court. We see the ugly, stupid shit that LeBron did in the game in LA, and we see the good shit that Patrick Beverley did in the game. We have to be fair. We have to be honest about things. We are slanted towards the Raptors and spinning it in their favor, but also we see reality and we observe it. We can give kudos to Pat Bev for being a respectful vet, a gutsy, hardworking guy who respected the dog in our fight also. I like that. Okay, so Tom Duke saying LongArm Monsters. I'm going to remember that. Lambs are LongArm Monsters, and they're definitely not lambs. They're lions. Oh, yeah, they are. Okay, post-game talks here. Always good to see post-game talk after a post-game. Got a trivia question for you. Which Raptor player has played in the most games this season? It might surprise you. Well, I got to think about who's been out at different times in both ways. You know who it is? I think it's Scotty. I think Scotty Barnes is the one who's actually played in the most games for the Raptors this season. And if I'm right, let me know post-game talk. I think it is Scotty. I think it's Scotty because everybody else has had much longer periods out, and Scotty's only taken like a game or two out here or there. And so I think it's Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes has played the most games for the Raptors. Raymond Jacobs saying, unleash the Kraken. Laugh out loud. Yes, unleash the Kraken. Yes, what is that? Clash of the Titans? Yeah, the Kraken. The Kraken. James Mallard saying, LongArm Monsters. And thanks, Alexi. I am a lot like a certain California governor, but in his prime. Oh, you're like Arnold. Arnold. I want to pump you up. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. What happened to Sully? I let him go. I love all the Arnold Schwarzenegger comments and stuff. Yeah, James. Oh, I won't tell you right now, but if you write impression equals and then something, I will do an impression of something. This is like a weird impression jukebox. Some people have taken advantage of it this week. I did a Will Smith slapping Chris Rock impression, and I did an Elvis Presley impression. I just did an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. But if y'all want to see any other of them before I get done today, go ahead and just write it in the comments. Just put impression equals and put whatever you want. I've even told people I will do an impression of an idea or just a word. If you just put anything random in there, I'll try and do my interpretation in a performance style of whatever you put. So we'll see what happens there. Like you even put LAM equals LongArm Monsters. I don't know. All right, Tom Duke saying, haha, coming up on Maury, toxic relations. How about Big Sneeze nailing that push shot just a little late at halftime? Oh, yeah, Tom, I'm glad you brought this up. These are the things that fall through the cracks of the game because they are not official. They are things that not actually happen. That Precious Achua full court almost shot that he hit all net. If this man's dialed in with his three-pointer, that was showing it right there. It's too bad he got it off late, because it was really late. It wasn't even close to the buzzer, which is too bad. But it would have been badass if that had gone in and it had counted because he got it right in through there. It almost looked like it didn't even go in, like it hit the front of the rim the way it went in so nice. And he was 3/4 of the court when he threw that ball that far. And Nick Nurse's reaction was hilarious after he hit. He did a little like, oh my gosh, like when Precious hit that. And that's just like, and after the game, they're talking to Gary about Precious and his confidence. Do you feel like Precious is confident with his shot? He's like, yeah, he's super confident, but yeah, so am I. I'm really confident myself. They're trying to ask him to compare his confidence to Precious's confidence with their 3-point shot. I'm like, don't do that to Gary. Don't put him in some position where he's got to delineate whether he's better than his teammate with his confidence and stuff. They both have confidence. So shut the fuck up, whoever that was, Josh Lewenberg or whoever asked that question. I don't think it was Josh Lewenberg. I shouldn't say it was him. It could have been Michael Grange. Probably Michael Grange. Maybe Eric Corrine, the motherfucker asking crazy ass questions too. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Greg saying at Raymond Jacob, Alexi's right. If we try and stand between Delano and James, they will just run off and elope like Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, no, we know this from so many teenage movies. It was like the parents don't approve of your boyfriend Johnny from the wrong side of the tracks riding motorcycles and smoking cigarettes. No, you can't see him, Susan. You can't see him. But I love him, Daddy. And then she's sneaking out the window. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't need that kind of stuff. No dual suicides. Well, you went in Romeo Juliet territory with that. No. We need Delano Banton on this team. James, you stay away from Delano. You are not having his baby. No, you are not. You are grounded, young man. You're staying home. Oh, this is so stupid. James is saying, oh my God, fuck it. Rolling on the floor laughing. I'm pissing myself right now. I should save some pee for the pregnancy test. Yes, we need to know definitively if Delano has been with you. We don't trust you, young man. If you've been sneaking out with Delano Banton again to Rexdale, I tell you, the hell is coming down on you for this. I'm not a dad, but that's my dad there, I guess. I don't know. All right, let's keep going. Tom Duke saying, what? James, congrats. Too funny. Thanks for the entertainment, sir. Hey, listen, this is not just Raptors. We're riffing off Raptors into other worlds and stuff like that here. It's all good. We'll talk Ukraine. We'll talk whatever here. All right. Raymond Jacobs saying Delano is quite the looker. Hopefully the kids get his looks. Yeah, I haven't seen James. I don't know what James looks like. So, yeah, but if the kid takes after Delano, that kid will be cute and be all right, set up for life. Hopefully 7 foot tall and able to handle the ball like a Damon Stoudemire. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to see. Tom Duke saying all of a sudden we have extra options for starters. Yeah, we have to make decisions, and sometimes it's by the matchup. Last night I thought they were going to start Cam. But they didn't. They went with our regular crazy lineup, or our lineup with Scotty at the center. And because they wanted, like Nick said that in the pregame interview, he said, I want to put Scotty on Cat. I think he can physically match up with him and handle him physically. Well, he couldn't totally. And some of it is just his mobility. Like Scotty can probably muscle him and physically hold him, but Cat's so mobile for his size that surprised Scotty, and that he was getting around him and getting to the basket and stuff. So they had to make the adjustment, and they took Scotty out, and he pulled him, and they brought in Birch and put him on him as soon as they could. Or Precious came in and he started playing him too, because it didn't totally work. And it's basically an experience thing. It's not that he physically can't match up with them. It's just that he's still a rookie and he hasn't learned some of the tricks to really watch out for with him, because he was spinning around him and going right to the basket and doing different things like that. But Scotty wanted that assignment. Once again, I love that guys like Scotty and Precious, they want to guard these big-time guys and try and shut them down, turn off their water, as they put it. That's that OG and Anunoby mentality. They want to put OG-itis. OG-itis is putting on people. Well, they want to put Scotty fever on different people too. We want to put all kinds of maladies on the other teams with our defensive players. LeBron got OG-itis tonight. That's why he shot 3 for 11 or something like that. We want that kind of stuff to happen. And now we get a Precious acute malady, and then you got Barnes syndrome, and you got a little bit of OG-itis out there. People are just collecting all kinds of medical conditions from our defense. Oh yeah, I love talking about it that way. Oh, it looked like he got a bit of a Precious malady. Oh yeah, he got a Precious malady. Oh, he's got Barnes syndrome. He's really suffering from Barnes syndrome. Yeah, stuff like that. I love those diseases or those maladies that I made up with their names. Like OG-itis is a real thing. You can ask LeBron James how he has suffered from OG-itis over the last few years, and the topical cream he's got to put on his body after he plays against OG Anunoby. Yeah, it's a different kind of rehab than normal rehab after getting defended by OG. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, let's keep going. James Mallard saying, haha, at Tom Duke, my pleasure. We're going to go with Vince for a boy or Vince for a girl. Why would you call it Vince? You're not, okay, is it Vince Carter or Vince McMahon? I don't want no baby named after Vince McMahon. First of all, you do not name your baby after Vince McMahon. I'm so you do not. You do not, young man. You are grounded. You go so you do not name your baby after Vince McMahon. Is it Vince Carter? Because even then, I don't like that either. Go name that kid after Morris Peterson. Name that kid Morris. Don't name that kid Vince. Name that kid Morris. Morris is a good name. I like Morris. All right, let's keep going. All right, it jumped ahead a little bit here. Let me see. Okay, I see some impressions are coming up. This is gonna be good. All right. Okay, Tom Duke saying, haha, you rock, buddy. I'll set up a baby shower. Sweet baby Vince. Now, Tom Duke, you're in BC, and I don't know where James is. If you're gonna set up this baby shower, you may need some help over here for it. Greg saying, I'm pissing myself right now. That the little Vince Banton, James Lovechild combined with Beverley, you need to tighten your headband. It's going to give me my first heart attack. Yeah, what the fuck? Why is your headband on the ground all the time, Patrick Beverley? What the fuck is that? Maybe you need some better contraception, James and Delano, and maybe we need a more tight something on top of Patrick Beverley's head. Maybe there's a connection there. I don't know. I'm really grasping. All right, Daryl's saying opinions on who in the Eastern Conference games tonight might improve their playoff seeding with a much-needed win. Ooh, Daryl's being serious, guys, so we got to get back on track here. Let me just look and see what the matchups are for tonight, and I'll see if I can answer this question the best. That Philadelphia-Detroit game, obviously, let's see if Detroit can be a little bit of a spoiler tonight on Philly. That'd be fantastic. I see a really badass matchup with Milwaukee and Brooklyn. And, Milwaukee has been winning pretty good lately. Brooklyn is still suspect. I'm telling you right now, just because they got Durant back, they're still having trouble. They're losing big games against the top Eastern teams right now still. So I'm going to pick Milwaukee in this one. And I think it's going to be a pretty important game for Giannis to show something against Kevin. So, all right, Cleveland's in Atlanta tonight. That is a game that we really hope Atlanta overachieves and they really take to heart their battle in the play-in at the bottom there, that they need every game, and hopefully they come out and they catch Cleveland still kind of slouching and losing right now, because the more distance between us and the Cavs, that's fantastic. So go on, Atlanta Hawks, beat the Cavs tonight. And then the Clippers are in Chicago tonight. And that's a very interesting game because Chicago is very in danger of losing a lot. Like, they've been losing way more games than they've been winning recently. The Clippers are dangerous. They're not really playing for anything as far as positioning, because they're pretty set right in the middle of the play-in on the Western side. They're not really going to get in or out or fall out or anything like that. So that may be interesting to see if they loafed a little bit and allow Chicago to win the game. But yeah, we want the Clippers and the Hawks to win tonight, obviously, for our own personal selfish reasons. And in that battle between the Nets and the Bucks, hell yeah, I want to see Bucks win that one, because we can beat the Bucks. We swept them this year. They've never beaten us in the playoffs. Every single time we played them in the playoffs, we beat them in that series. We played them. And everybody's saying this week we should be more scared of the Bucks. No, I'm sorry. I don't get scared of teams that have not proven that they can beat us. And they have not proven that they could beat us. Last year, yeah, they won the championship, but we had an off year. And if we had not had an off year and we had been a regular playoff team like we normally are, we might have beaten Milwaukee and put them out in the playoffs before they got to the championship. So they're pretender to me. They've never proven. They didn't actually come and get our crown, is what I'm saying. We had the crown in the Eastern Conference from before that. We had the best record in the Eastern Conference the year after our championship. And they didn't really actually steal our crown last year because we were not involved and we had an off year. And that's why I'm saying I don't believe in them against us. We have Giannis in his head in a certain way. And we can beat them. We can beat them, especially because we got all these guys that just frustrate and piss off their best player. And he really is their most important best player. And we can do things to him that allow him to do nothing. That he will not be able to, he will be nullified against the Raptors LAM. He will. So I'm not afraid of Milwaukee. So that's why I'd like to see them beat down Brooklyn tonight and help them be further down. Like Brooklyn actually fell into the bottom part of the play-in for a little bit this week already. And Charlotte is nipping at their heels. So they're in trouble. This is so close and badass. Just how close all the races are going out this season. It's just a lot of fun. It's like this next week that's coming up is just going to be so exciting. in different ways. And I love it. I love it. But yeah, there's my opinion on that, Daryl. I really hope that the teams lose that I said so that we can keep above them. And that's basically, let's see Brooklyn lose. Let's see Chicago lose. And let's see Cleveland lose tonight. That'd be fantastic. But even if they don't all lose, we're still taking care of ourselves. Keep on getting these W's in a row. We'll be fine. We take care of our own destiny. We don't have to worry or depend on other teams losing. We take care of our own shit and we'll be fine. Oh, yeah. Great question, Daryl. And I'm glad you brought it back to a more serious tone because, I don't mind getting crazy and fun like we're doing this morning, but this is also something where we're a resource for Raptors information right here. James is saying, amazing at Tom Duke. I'll let my mom's sister know that you have it covered. I have the perfect moo-moo. Yeah, you probably will need a moo-moo. If you've got Delano Banton's child in your body, it's going to be probably huge. You're going to need a Homer Simpson moo-moo. Mar Smith is here. Wilt Chamberlain. Oh, I know what this allusion is to. Mar Smith, good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a bit. Check the videos with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, when they did the Conan movie, there was this iconic picture of Wilt Chamberlain, Arnold in the middle, and Andre the Giant, all in one picture. I love that picture and that old time. You see how short Arnold is standing in a picture next to Wilt Chamberlain and Andre the Giant. Yeah, Arnold's not a very big guy. Yeah, but that's cool. I like you brought that up, Mar, just out of the blue. Wilt Chamberlain's a badass. I'm a fan of his and his old NBA career and all the different achievements and crazy things he did and stuff like that. He's one of the greatest. And, people talk so much about LeBron and Michael and that GOAT argument. We really do need to stop being so recency bias. We need to remember there's men like Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Russell and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird that are very important to the NBA GOAT conversation also. I know Magic and Larry kind of cancel each other out, and so do Russell and Jabbar or Chamberlain, but they still need to be in that conversation, and their names need to be around. And when they're talking about LeBron and Michael, it's not as easy as just saying those two. I hate when they don't talk. They just talk about them. It's just clear cut. It's either one of those two. Now, I agree it's Michael. I think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, but in some ways, I would put Wilt Chamberlain or people like Bill Russell above LeBron, is what I'm saying right now. Greg's saying at post-game talk, is it Scotty? I think he's finished every game too. I think it's Scotty. I really do think it's Scotty. If he doesn't answer and tell us the answer to the question, I think it's Scotty. Because I've only remembered him missing different games here and there, like one game. He never had a long stretch like Fred or Gary or OG, like Pascal, the beginning of the season. And Scotty was just missing game spot here and there. And Delano was getting into most of the games himself, but he hasn't lately. And I can't count any of the bench guys, obviously, because they've been sitting on the bench. They're not getting in the game. So it has to be a core guy and somebody who's been around the most in the games. And I think it's Scotty. I think it is Scotty, Greg. Evelyn's here, just dropping by. Good morning. Happy we got the W. Yes, Evelyn. Thanks for coming in. Always happy to see your name here. We love you, Evelyn. Let's go, Raptors. That's right. Daryl Turner's saying, also your opinions on this weekend's WWE WrestleMania main event and undercards. Is it or is it not stupendous? Okay, Daryl, I'm a classic wrestling fan. I quit watching in 2004 when Vince got the monopoly and he ended ECW and WCW became a farce. And I'm not very learned on this subject. I do vicariously hear about wrestling. I don't watch it through Jim Cornette's podcast and also through watching internet, YouTube channels like WrestleLamia. I used to watch wrestling with regret with Brian Zane. But I could tell you this. The celebrities involved in WrestleMania are very interesting. Like Logan Paul, he's actually kind of a real fighter in some ways. So that's interesting to me, but I'm not totally understanding the whole match because I don't even know the matches. I know that Stone Cold's supposed to have something with Kevin Owens, but they're not actually going to fight. It's going to be more like a Piper's Pit or something. They can come out and talk, and maybe Stone Cold beat the shit out of him or something like that. I know that also Johnny Knoxville's fighting Sami Zayn or something like that. What the fuck is this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the current product. And I'm not educated on it enough. Like I know that Roman Reigns is doing something and something and something. I just don't know. I don't even know the matches. I really don't. So I'm not qualified to talk about this. I do like the fact that they're going to have it more normal since the pandemic, and they won't have all the big TV screens and all the weirdness. And hopefully, none of these weird cinematic matches that they've had the last couple of years and stuff like that. But the other thing about what's happened recently, I really feel bad for Big E and the things that are happening. Wrestling is really fucked up right now to me. Like, they're taking a lot of risks for nothing. I'm really am very strongly in the camp of Jim Cornette. Like, everything that he says and how he feels about the current product is how I feel. Like, I'm an old school guy. I loved wrestling when I was a little kid. I went to a lot of NWA matches in Florida when I was in the 80s. I was seeing Ric Flair versus Wahoo McDaniel and the Fabulous Ones versus the Road Warriors. I saw a lot of good WWF matches back then. Like, I've seen the Ultimate Warrior fight Andre the Giant in person, stuff like that. But I'm really like disenchanted with the current stuff. I don't like AEW either. I don't watch either one of the channels at this point. So I can't give you an honest opinion. I do know they have some good celebrities, interesting celebrity stuff. But I hate Vince McMahon. I think that he's ruined wrestling. And in some ways, I boycott it because I feel like the product is so awful. It's so awful. Like, I can't sit there and watch a Raw for 3 hours when it's just so shit most weeks. So I just can't do it. Greg saying impression equals James having Delano's baby Vince. All right. I don't know what James looks like or who he is or anything like that. So I'm just going on like this. How big is this fucker? Who? I am breathing. All right, that's it. There you go. James is saying low. Oh, fuck. Now I got to stay and see that. There you go. There it is. Rolling on the floor laughing. I hope that was good. I actually just hyperventilated myself by pushing too much air out. I got to catch my breath here. Hang on. All right, good. Okay, there's your impression. I hope it's good. I hope you get your money's worth for that. Death 4K is here again. I love seeing Death 4K. Why is Scotty Barnes ranked third still, Rookie of the Year? What claim does Mobley have after averaging 9 points a game last 2 weeks to hold the favorable support of these voters? Well, he's in on American team. He's been that golden boy this whole year that they've tried to tout for this. They've been reinforcing this, knowing that at some point Scotty Barnes may actually be a very viable, important candidate in this. Let's still see what happens. I know that Mobley's injury isn't that long. He's only going to be out maybe 3 or 4 games, but that may buy Scotty enough time. And the great thing about last night is he had a bad game against Boston. He did not make an impression that would help him in the Rookie of the Year in the Boston game, but last night he did because he started really bad. And then he got benched for the second half, like we were talking about earlier. But then he came out and showed fire, and he did show a dominance. Like, he had that one shot real close where he got a rebound and put it back and different things like that. That dunk he had late in the game was really badass. So it's that kind of thing. It's like he needs to really shine while Mobley is sidelined right now. And once again, the Raptors themselves as a team in the standings, we keep way above Cleveland. They can't make this argument that it's how well the team's doing. And they really, if you look at the individual stats, you're exactly right, Death, that this is fucked up. They need to look at the stats again right now because Scotty's beating him in individual stats also. In fact, I saw a chart that NBA Math, this is a really interesting account, NBA Math. They did a new study where they put all the faces of all the rookies on a chart and put them where they're like impact on the team, like, and how they're doing. And Scotty is up in the top corner, like Jokic is on the chart for the whole NBA. So it shows statistically and in things like that when people do the studies that Scotty is above Evan Mobley. And it's really going to be American bias that is going to hurt him in the end. And hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully the one thing that we've been talking about more and more in the last week is a co-rookie of the year award. And hopefully that he doesn't get completely shafted and doesn't get at least the co-rookie, if not the rookie of the year, just straight up for Scotty Barnes, because he does deserve this. He really does. And if he doesn't get either one of the things I just said, oh, well, have mercy on the rest of the NBA souls next season. That's what I'll say. But like, yeah, that's the thing. As Raptor fans, it's a no lose scenario for us. We're going to win either way. Either he gets his kudos, he gets his rookie of the year, or he is pissed off and he's going to fuck them up next year. And that's what I see what's going to happen. Oh, yeah, it'll be death 4K for the rest of the league because they didn't give him his award. And the other thing I've also thought about, if they don't give him the rookie of the year award and we still have time, we're in the playoffs and he's pissed off, maybe he'll say, you won't give me rookie of the year. Well, I'm going to go fucking get a Larry O.B. in my rookie year. How about that instead? And that could be very possible. Seriously, the motivation that he gets because of this. Because one of the things we saw last night with him being benched and sitting for the first part of the third quarter last night is he got motivated from seeing that and being out. And he didn't like being the guy sitting on the bench at that moment, even though he partly suggested it. He didn't like it. He got out there and he made it a difference. And he started doing stuff way better than he did in the first half. He was way more assertive and doing right things. So I think that he gets motivation from different things like this, and that the NBA better be careful. You might want to just feed the lion before he gets too hungry. Just go ahead and give him that rookie of the year, because you may unleash a beast. And you may not like that, NBA. Oh, yeah. So you think about it. It's kind of like Clint Eastwood. It's like, I know how many you're thinking. It's like, make my day, motherfucker. Yeah, I know you're thinking, how many shots did I shoot? It's like, make my day. Yeah, go ahead. Make my day. You don't give me the rookie of the year, then you find out. Yeah, you find out real quick. James Mallard saying, I told you I am Arnold in his prime, but with sexier accent. Excuse my friends, he's dead tired. Are you Austrian? Are you Austrian, James Mallard? Hey, all right. I mean, do you look like him? You look like Arnold, or do you talk like him? Like, are you running around Toronto and talking like Arnold and stuff like that? Hey, it's all good. It's a cool accent. Sorry, I didn't do the accent with that. And I'm not going to try and do it again with that, because that was enough hyperventilating for me 5 minutes ago. I'm not doing it again. Daryl Turner saying, could you do an impersonation of the late, great Razor Ramon, rest in peace, of D-Generation X, NWO, and the Wolfpack, Scott Hall? Oh, my gosh. And listen, there was a stream the day after Scott Hall died that we were doing, and people were talking about Scott Hall in the stream, but the stream got fucked up by YouTube, and I had to stop it before I got to everybody's comments. The only time this ever happened, and I felt so bad because I really did want to do a tribute to Scott Hall that day. Scott Hall, listen, I got to get this real quick, because I have behind me, it's underneath me, you don't see it. I have a Funko collection. I got my Razor Ramon Funko right here. I love wrestling. I love old school wrestling. I got to see Scott Hall wrestle in the 80s in Florida before he was any of that. He was big Scott Hall in his AWA days in the mid 80s. He came to Florida, and I saw him wrestle when I was a little kid. I love him. And you got this. This is a very happy to fulfill this request for an impression. Daryl Turner, thank you. All right, let me do this. I don't even know if I got something around here. I don't think I do. I don't have a toothpick. Sorry. Okay. Hey, yo, did you come here to see WCW? Or did you come here to see the bad guys? Chalk another one up for the bad guys. Boom. It's kind of good. I don't know. I think it's hilarious that Scott Hall came to Vince McMahon and said, I want to be this wrestler and I'm going to do this impression. He's basically doing Scarface. He was doing an impression of Scarface. And Vince, being such an idiot, he's like really closeted with his awareness of the world. He didn't know Scarface existed as a movie in the early 90s. He had never seen it. And he thought Scott was a genius for coming up with this character, not realizing that Scarface with Al Pacino was a movie, and that was basically who Scott Hall was playing as Razor Ramon. But in Vince's mind, he was like, you're a genius, Scott. Where did you come up with this great character? And it's just like, what a dumbass. Like, that just shows you how what's an idiot Vince McMahon is. And he didn't even know that. And here's another fun fact about Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. The name Ramon was given to him by Tito Santana. Yeah, they were trying to figure out a good name for him and his character. And Tito said, why don't you call yourself Ramon? And that's how he got it. He's Razor Ramon because Tito Santana suggested it to him. So there's a little bit of fun facts about Scott Hall. Rest in peace. Really sad that he died. He had a hard life. He put himself through a lot of stuff. And that's that. Yeah. Death 4K saying, I was reading a quote of how all the analysts that have Scotty D+ coming out of the draft will not reward Scotty with Rookie of the Year because it shoots their credibility for future drafts. I still think there was a bit of a conspiracy that went on with the NBA draft last year that people knew that Scotty, they're not this dumb. They were trying to submarine him to Orlando. They wanted to downplay how good he was because they saw the way the lottery balls came out and they saw where the Raptors were. And they were like, you need to take Jalen Suggs. You need to take Jalen Suggs. And they were cramming them down our throats to the point where our fan base thought that that was our only option. And that when it didn't happen, we failed. Well, no, we didn't. Masai Ujiri was doing his own research and figuring it all out. And then when we did land him, it's like then it's the campaign to like really poo-poo how good he is. They knew how good he was all along. You can eye test that kid and see his shoulders look like Dwight Howard's shoulders. His hands look like Kawhi Leonard's hands. It's like you don't have to be a fucking great NBA scout to understand this. So I really think that the NBA on the down low was doing some subterfuge to try and hide him from us and us drafting him. But thankfully, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are really smart men that don't listen to their bullshit narrative. And that's really part of what's working into this whole thing is they never wanted us to have him. That if he had been in Orlando this year and they were like sniffing the playoffs because he's on their roster this year instead of Jalen Suggs, he would be rookie of the year already. Like 6 months ago already, as soon as his impact was being felt on that team with nobody around him. So yeah, there's a lot of screwy shit with this. But listen, I think he can overcome it and win it anyway, just like we won that Boston game 8-5. I think Scotty can overcome all of this bullshit and get through this and win. I said it this week. I feel like Scotty Barnes is having the greatest rookie season and Raptors ever had. And I include Damon and Vince with this. I really do. I feel like that what he's doing is so much more important for the team in some ways and where the team is at with its level than where Vince was with what the team was at its level. And of course, Damon in the first year. Of course, Damon's going to do what he did for us in the first year expansion Toronto Raptors. So I really, truly believe Scotty Barnes is the greatest rookie in Raptor history. And I will say that over and over again. And it can piss Vince people off all they want, but I really believe that because Scott, in some ways, Scotty is all steak and Vince was all sizzle. Vince was all sizzle. He was flashy. He was the dunks. He was like highlight reels and shit like that. Whereas Scotty's winning plays night in and night out, doing what it takes to win and gutsy like work. And that's the difference in some ways. And that's why I say he's the greatest Raptor rookie of all time. So, yeah, we can't control whether they are going to give him the kudos or not, but we can damn for sure he can control raining down on them afterwards if they don't recognize him. And that's what I want to see. Raymond Jacobs saying, get to the chopper. No, Dana, no. Let's say, Running Man, chill out, dickwad. It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor. Raymond, 19 likes now, so 3 more. Let's see. Clink saying at death 4K, Scotty is going to pass Mobley and Cade for Rookie of the Year. Yeah, for sure. I really hope so. Listen, we're watching you, NBA. We think you're biased towards our franchise. There's a lot of bullshit that's going on right now because of this stupid-ass Tim Bontemps fucking ESPN article about the vaccination status of the Sixers and the Celtics right now. There's a lot of anti-Canadian sentiment that's going on. There's fucking idiots because of that bullshit that Tim Bontemps or whatever his fucking name is. He's a fucking hack piece of shit writer now. That fucking people are now calling for the Raptors to be moved out of Canada because they think that our rules are more strict here than they are in the States, where they're the same. It's just that your knuckleheads down there like Kyrie need to get vaxxed if they want to play in Toronto. That's just the same rules we have to do when we go across to America. So it's fucked up. Now he's stoking all this anti-Canadian sentiment in different places, and Celtic fan, Sixer fan. They're like, well, what the fuck is Toronto still in the league? Because they fucking won't let our players come here. Let's just get rid of them. It's the shit we're hearing right now from idiots down south. And it's purely and simply from a horrible, irresponsible article written by Tim Bontemps about the Celtics and the Sixers possibly not having all their players vaccinated. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a non-story, you fucking piece of shit, Tim Bontemps. You fucking asked Emma Doku yourself this week, And he told you if our players are healthy, they can all play in Toronto. That is, hello, read through the lines. Their players are vaccinated and they can come here. Just because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown did not cross the border to come to Canada, they didn't want to fucking go through the rigmarole of the border. They didn't want to come to Canada if they didn't have to. It's the same shit Golden State did earlier this year. They look at that and they make a mountain out of a molehill. That is a non-story. These guys are all vaxxed. They can come and play here if they just chose to rest them. And then why the fuck put them on a plane if they don't have to? It's so stupid. And they're trying to fill in the blanks and make this whole story and this pissing off Celtic and Sixer Nation. And now they're calling for our heads as a franchise. And this is something I want to talk about this summer. I'm going to do a special thing on Sundays called the Sunday Special Report. Is going to be a segment in the off season where I'm going to pick a special topic that I want to talk about that is about the Raptors. And one of the ones I'm going to talk about is the danger of us losing our team in Canada because of future pandemics. And I will talk about this very seriously because this is something seriously we need to watch out and think about, even though it sounds like a nightmare scenario. That this fucking COVID shit that happened fucked us up and put us in Tampa for a season. And then, pandemics they could happen again. So we need to talk about what could happen again in the future and how this could affect the Raptors and their place in the NBA. That's going to be a special report on a Sunday this summer. Look out for it. I'm going to do the ref report on the special report. There's a couple other ones I'm working on that are very interesting. They're going to be very interesting special reports coming out on Sundays. I hope you'll join me. It'll be like CBS This Morning or 60 Minutes kind of shit with Raptors content. And we're going to talk about that. The future of the NBA in Toronto with relation to pandemics is very scary in some ways. I'm not gonna lie. So let's keep going. All right. Clink saying Raps. Hang on, I jumped. Raps are starting to get respect. D Flow, Six Man, et cetera, et cetera. All the big ones are starting to come out praising the Raps finally. Meanwhile, we've been saying it all year because we watch Scotty every game. Yeah, they're going to have to see it. I really loved seeing that Pascal got interviewed by ESPN this week. After the 40-point game against Boston, he did a really nice little interview on the ESPN in the States. We're getting a little bit more exposure down there. They'd be smart. Like Pascal's a great superstar. Market him to the States because there's people down there that will watch the way he plays and enjoy it and become fans. He needs to be a guy like we keep saying this week, like Giannis, like LeBron, like Luka, like Joel Embiid. He is a superstar like them. He's unstoppable in those kind of ways. And people will see that and respect that and get interested and be a fan of his if you expose him in the United States. And I wish they would do that more. That's part of the discount we get is that we get discounted. We don't get the exposure. They don't show that these guys are badasses in their different ways, whether it's Freddie All-Star, Pascal, All-NBA Siakam, Scotty Roy. They need to show them for who they are so they get an even playing field for consideration for accolades. And thank you, Matt Devlin, for pushing them with your call. Pushing them with your call is really essential and important to this whole mechanism for sure. All right. But yeah, it's good that they're starting to get more recognition. Like I said, really nice to see Pascal on ESPN this week down there getting an interview and some shine. James Mallard saying, okay, well, we'll go for Maurice for a boy or Maureen for a girl. Where are you getting these names? Is it Maurice the Rocket Richard? Are you a Montreal fan? What is going on here? And Maureen, who's Maureen? I don't know. I won't go too far in this. Maureen and Morris Mallard. Or would you be Bantons? I think it's Banton because you're the woman. Yeah. Or maybe it's Mallard Banton. Yeah, Maurice Mallard Banton, something like that. I don't know. Raymond Jacobs saying, James, good news for you. Due to in vitro, you're having quintuplets. More to go around. We get a whole starting lineup, future starting lineup for the Raptors coming out of James Mallard's vagina. There you go. There's a one quote for you there, Greg. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Raymond Jacob, good stuff. I love the quintuplets, double down, triple down, quadruple, quintuple down. You quintupled down on him. Duke Rock saying, as a Raps fan, I have no fear of any team in the East. Bulls have a tough schedule and will fall. I see the Raps as the 5th seed. Do you have a preference who the Raps play? Yeah, Dukes. I've been talking about this a lot this week. And like I said earlier, I'm not worried about Milwaukee because they haven't proven that they can beat us. It's a mental thing. These guys have not beat us in a playoff series. They got swept this year by us. There's something about that. And our phalanx of 6'9" Centurions that will come at Giannis that will fuck him up. And we damn for sure ain't going to let Chris Middleton fuck us up. So who the fuck's going to fuck us up on that team? Drew Holiday? I don't give a shit who it is. We will match them and we'll beat them down. Milwaukee, we got your number. And other Raptor fans that don't believe me and think I'm crazy and stuff like, oh, they're the defending champs. Motherfucker, we were out last year. We didn't get to knock them out because we probably would have. We probably would have if we'd been a regular Raptor team and without all the bullshit, we probably would have knocked them out last year. So I would say this, dude. I have a preference right now. Right now, we're lined up to play the Sixers right now, and I love that. That's a great matchup. I have a preference to play the Sixers because James Harden disappears in the playoffs. We play Joel Embiid so well, and I think we can handle them. Now, I would also kind of like to play the Boston Celtics in the first round, and that's because Robert Williams will definitely not be back for the first round. So in a way, it may be smart if we get the Celtics in the first round and we kick their ass before they get their defensive center back so that we don't have to fucking deal with them with Robert Williams III later in the playoffs. It's kind of like get them early, cut that head off that snake early before it gets bigger with the other guy coming back. Get them out before he returns. It's a really smart strategy. And in some ways, that's kind of why I want to play Boston in the first round. But it's really realistically, it's going to be either Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, or maybe Miami. Like, I don't see us getting into a position where we're going to play like Chicago. So it's really those top four that we're just going to probably switch around and possibly have to play. And so those are what we're looking at. If we're looking at that, Boston's the team I really least want to play. And the team I probably most want to play is Philadelphia. Philadelphia, then Milwaukee, then maybe Miami, and then Boston. Miami's weird. I don't know what to think with Miami. They're having problems right now. They are functional at times, but in other times they're really not functional. So it's like a roll of the dice with them. And plus, you never want to deal with some of the weapons that they have on the other side, like Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry specifically in a playoff series. We know about Kyle Lowry. We don't want to play against him in the playoffs. That's for sure. But then again, maybe we do because we know him really well. And that Fred versus Kyle matchup, which I hope we get on Sunday, I really want to see it in person when I get down there to the arena. Fred versus Kyle. Hopefully he's playing. But they're playing for stuff, so he does need to play right now. I thought maybe this later game against Miami would be a non-factor game because the end of the season and kind of stuff. But no, it's all going down the wire. So Kyle should play in Sunday here in Toronto. If he's healthy, he shouldn't be a scratch. All right, let's see. That's your answer. Hopefully that answered what you wanted to hear, Duke. Duke's saying it's close between Mobley and Barnes, but advanced stats has Barnes ahead. Yeah, it's the winning stats. It's the win share stats. It's the defensive impact stats. And then also, in some ways, his stats have gone up while Mobley's have kind of gone down in the last month. So he's catching up to him. And the arguments that were made earlier in the season for why Mobley is better than Barnes, they cannot be justified at this point as far as their record's better than us and he has better individual stats, because that's not true at this point in the season. And that's very telling. Death 4K saying, laugh out loud, Death 4K for the rest of the league. Exactly. Yeah, we're going to do your moniker to the rest of the league if they don't give Scotty Rookie of the Year. He's going to come out like Death 4K for all of them. Oh, yeah. James is saying, at Raymond, my Banton Quints will make it easier for the Raps scouting department. Just sign all 5, and I'll talk to Scotty Barnes about cloning some role players. Maybe they get my ass. Listen, you're going into dark territories, very dark territories. And I'm not just talking about your ass. I mean, come on. I don't want to, listen, I know that this is not for kids and stuff, but you're going to gross me out. You're going to gross me out at some point, James Mallard, with the tone you've set in your first day being here in the live stream. You're going to gross me out. I can tell in the future. You're really going to gross me out. But yeah, I kind of like the idea of cloning Scotty Barnes as much as possible. Let's do that. And maybe we don't have to have James Mallard's ass involved. Maybe we can just do this cleanly in a laboratory, and we don't need to do anything with your ass. That'd be good. Daryl Turner is saying fantastic. James Mallard is saying Clink made videos saying take Scotty. All right, I'll have to go see this stuff. Clink saying at James, dude, what Alexi says precisely why I started making Raps videos. Everyone's drinking Suggs Kool-Aid. I had to be a voice of reason when I'm the voice of reason, or the world's in trouble. Yeah, I would say the same thing for me. I could echo that too. Yeah, part of the reason why I was motivated to make this station was NBA Chev and Bo of the Fifth Column. I saw the way they were making content on YouTube, and I was like, wow, I could do this shit. Why not? And it was kind of like I could have been doing this years ago, obviously, but I didn't have the aptitude for technology. But now YouTube's so easy to use for an old fogey like me. It's like it's met at the right time, so that like, yeah, I can be here and do this in a capable way at this point, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like on Instagram, I got to learn that platform, but I'm learning YouTube at this point. But yeah, my motivation's similar to Greg's. I heard so much negativity last summer in Raptor Nation talking about different things, and I knew this season was going to be an up and down season, that it wasn't clearly going to be a winning season. But I also wanted to try and help steer the ship of the thought of Raptor Nation that, listen, this is a development year. We're going to have success and failure, but boy, did we have a lot of success within the failure. And I just wanted to make sure that people didn't go so chicken little at different times of the season. Oh, this guy's following the team so horrible. We just lost to Orlando and Detroit. Oh my gosh. And too much of that. And just kind of keep even perspective, because we are kind of bipolar as a fan base. We get real high when it's high and real low when it's real low. And you just want to kind of go even it out and just take the wins and the losses in the same kind of way in some ways, like the players do. So I was just really trying to be a role model for Raptor fans to stay positive, not to infight, stay positive about the team. Don't talk about the players and wanting to trade them or telling them that they're a piece of shit and stuff like that. Just trying to build a positive Raptor fan base within the craziness and the weird world of the Raptor fans, because we have really toxic Raptor fans that are fucked up. And I wanted to bring the real ones with me here. And that's why more and more people like who's here now are here, the ones that want to be positive, want to cheer on the team, don't want all this negative bullshit, and just feel good about the team. Because in some ways, the NBA, the way it treats Toronto, the way hockey fans treat Toronto Raptors, the way that the the press in Canada treats the Raptors, the US press, same. They all put us down, and it conditions us to look at ourselves in negative ways when it's not fair. And I'm sick of that shit. And that's why I wanted to be this voice here, cutting through that kind of bullshit and say, what the fuck, Michael Grange, you're going to write this fucking piece. You're going to make all these Raptor fans, you're gaslighting is basically what some of these motherfuckers are doing. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. This is part of the reason why I was motivated to do this. And I can see Greg, the same thing with what he's doing on his channel, is he was motivated because he saw some bullshit with the Suggs shit last summer. He's like, I got to do something about it. That's like, we got in the phone booth and we changed to Superman. Duke saying conspiracy theories. I was wondering why U.S. media was pushing this vax narrative. Yeah, it really is like a great example. That Tim Bontemps article is a great example of Fox kind of journalism. They're preying on the fears and concerns of Celtic and Sixer Nation and making them upset and angry at us for no reason. And it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. And if he was really being honest, he would just say, no, they're just sitting out because they need rest. They're hurt. It's the second night of a back-to-back. There's all kinds of evidence that shows what really happened, and that they want to put in the vaccine part of it. It's a little nefarious, and it may have to do with like people's political agendas with vaccine mandates and differences between Canada's government, how we handled it, and U.S. government, how they handle it, and the way people view it down south, like it's a real freedom fighting kind of thing with the convoys and shit like that. So in some ways, some of the Americans look at Canada's vaccine rules as really stringent and strict and fucked up because we had our arena closed and now they're here and their teams can't even come here. So there's really fucked up, weird ripples from this dumbass article that Tim Bontemps has written this week. And I fucking hate it because even other Raptor fans are questioning, like, what is this? This is weird. And it makes us all kind of uncertain. It's like, it's a bullshit, like 2022 Red Auerbach mental subterfuge bullshit is what it is. It's like the Celtics know their guys can all play here. They've all come and played here. If they get one jab, why wouldn't they fucking go get the second jab and be eligible to be in Canada? They're not Kyrie. So it's like, this is a non-story. Teams are allowed to say no comment when it comes to privacy of the player in vaccine status. So that's all they were doing. We did this ourselves as a franchise earlier this season. When people would ask us about vaccine stuff, they would say basically, we have no comment to privacy of our players. And that's all they were doing with this. But Tim Bontemps wanted to take it a step further and say, ooh, this must mean that they're not vaxxed. Well, they can fucking say no comment and they can all be vaxxed. You fucking dumbass, especially when the coach actually told you. Now, I was saying, yeah, the Celtics may do this for mind games. They may say no comment, put it out there, and then people are like, whoa, the Raptors don't know who to prepare for game 3 of their series against the Celtics. Who will show up? And the Sixers, if the Sixers in their case, I would just say it's just pure franchise incompetence. That if they didn't have their players all vaccinated so that they could come to Canada and play against us, it's probably because their franchise is incompetent. But with the Celtics, I'll say it's probably calculated and it's some sort of mind fuck game, like Red Auerbach 2022 mind game subterfuge bullshit. And it worked in a way, in some ways, on their own crowd. Like their fans are really freaking out now because they think Al Horford can't come here. They think that Jaylen Brown didn't get vaxxed. They're not sure. Some people do know, and they're saying, yeah, well, they are vaxxed. This is a non-story. And then some people are completely freaking out. And then they're blaming Canada. They're doing the fucking South Park. Blame Canada. Blame Canada. It's really fucked up. Like some of the shit I was reading on that post by Tim Bontemps was straight up anti-Canadianism. It was straight up like, what a fuck kind of piece of shit country. Canada's the worst, all this kind of stuff because of this bullshit that he wrote. So that's why I hate it. It's like it once again, basketball in its own little metaphor of its place in its world is showing a metaphor for the bigger, larger political world of Fox News and how damaging this kind of shit is. Because now there's all this anti-Canadian sentiment by stupid people in America right now because of that dumbass article he wrote. So, and that's feeding the fire about taking our team away from us and making it an all-American sport. No international is what they're saying. Because they don't want to have to deal with the border with pandemics. And that's part of what I want to talk about in that special report. So yeah, Duke, don't fall for it. It's a non-story. It's bullshit. And I wish it wasn't everywhere. And everybody is posting it or putting it out there. You're fucking helping the propagandizing bullshit that Tim Bontemps started with that stupid ass article. It's so stupid. Greg saying, ooh, Lex, good point about round 1 Celtics minus Williams. I crave watching Embiid collapse out of exhaustion from playing us. These big guys really do have to rest. Like when we play Cat, we play Jokic, we play Embiid, they have to sit for good chunks of the game. They aren't like our guys. Like Pascal last night is hilarious in his postgame. He's saying, I can't be tired. I have to do everything on both ends. I have to play the defense like crazy, and then I have to still go at the other end and score and help my team. I cannot afford to be tired. And I love that about him. He's not getting tired out there. We see as the game goes on, Pascal is still playing at a higher level with those blocks near the basket at the end of the Boston game and last night. That Pascal is out there running. Meanwhile, people like Cat, they got to sit like almost a whole quarter at times just to get, it's that kind of thing. And that may be part of the strategy and why we didn't build around a really big and we're unconventional with not a real center. Is that those are the detriments you have with that really big guy. That if you put all your eggs in their basket and they're tired and they can't physically be out there to help you, then you're fucked. Like Joel Embiid is so important to the Sixers right now. He's an Achilles heel also. So, yeah, and that point about the Celtics thing, I think is really smart. Let's get them early before they got Robert Williams, and that would be easier to beat. So get them early. Take care of them early. Hopefully, if it's not us that match up with them, the other team that plays them will have success and put them out early. Because we don't want Boston hanging around not long enough to get Robert Williams back. And especially that means they'll be in the playoffs for a long time. So a first round exit for Boston, whoever's playing them, would be very, very nice to see. Very nice to see. If it's us, that's great because then we get that revenge. But if it's going to be somebody else like Chicago gets them in the first round, puts them out in the first round, thank God. Vucevic eat them alive without Robert Williams out there. I want to see Vucevic eat them alive if Chicago plays Boston in the first round. That's what I want to see. Oh, yeah. Clink saying Miami beat the Celtics last night. They are a force. Kalo had over 20 points and took 2 charges, what I saw. It was a close game, went down the wire, but Miami closed it out with good veteran presence. And yeah, they had their guys. Listen, these Celtics fans this week are so fucked up. They're hurt because they know their chances are fucked up because Robert Williams is hurt now. And they're talking so much trash about how we just barely beat them by 3 points and stuff like we had Tatum and Brown, blah, 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 blah. Well, maybe if you played one of them, you might have won the game on Monday. If just one of those two had showed up, you probably might have won the game on Monday. I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, Miami taking care of them last night, really nice to see. Yeah, if it's going to be Miami versus Boston, I'm going for Kyle. Oh, yeah, I hate the fucking Celtics. And you know Kyle hates the Celtics too, and he wants that get back with the Miami Heat also. So that was really nice to see. So, yeah, I love it. In some ways, it's weird because we're rooting for our team, obviously, but also in some ways, we root for Kyle. We root for DeMar. So we have a couple of horses in the race that we can feel good about them doing well also. You know, I don't want Miami personally to win another championship. That franchise won a bunch of championships already. They don't need a fucking championship. And Kyle doesn't need another one either. But DeMar, yeah, I want him to get another one. And Chicago could get another championship. That wouldn't bother me. Okay, let's keep going. James Mallard, do we match the Bucks well? I think so, because listen, like Giannis is so important to them. And we have like 5 guys that can guard him one-on-one. Like OG does so well against him. Pascal does so well against him. Precious, throw Precious at him for a little while. Thad Young could probably hurt him a little bit. Also, it's like Chris Boucher. Show all these different, just bring different ones of them at him with full strength, and he ain't going to do fucking shit. Like, we'll let him settle for outside shots. We won't let him do anything near the basket, and he won't look good. And that has happened consistently this year in the games that he actually showed up. Like, when he actually played us, we handled him fine. And I think that their bench got worse during around the trade deadline. I know they added Serge, and everybody's saying, "Ooh, they got Serge Ibaka now." Well, that's fine. Go ahead, have Serge. Serge may be a double agent for us on the down low. He may actually help us at some point in a playoff series against the Raptors. Watch. I bet you he may come up and try and do some stuff, but in some ways he may not. He may have a soft spot for our franchise still, and that may be behind enemy lines. He may be a secret agent for us. So I wouldn't count that out, seriously. And plus, he's very old. You're going to rely on Serge Ibaka to do stuff for you? You're going to see that he's aged quite a bit since he's left the Raptors in his time with the Clippers. So, yeah, I think we match up pretty well with them, James. Chris Middleton can be annoying, and sometimes if Holiday gets loose and he's starting to do too much, that can be a problem. But overall, I think we're way better than them talent-wise, and that our style with our length at different places causes so many mismatches for their defense. Like, they had little guys like Grayson Allen and Connaughton and those fucks. They can't fucking do shit off the bench defensively against our guys. We just back them down. OG bully ball, and there, it's a dunk on them, shit like that. Yeah, and Scotty can guard Giannis too. I didn't even say Scotty guarding Giannis. Think about that. So, yeah, we match up real well with them. I think we got their kryptonite. If the Detroit Pistons are to us, we are to the Milwaukee Bucks. So, yeah. Scott B saying, hey, guys, got a carbon copy of the email from the NBA yet? Scott B got one. Greg got one. Tom got one. Sue got one. We all got the same fucking letter from Bill from the head office of the NBA. And just what it is. I mean, shit. I hope that Jack Armstrong, being on the competition committee, can come in there and really talk to them and get his voice heard. And hopefully Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are doing their due diligence as leaders of this franchise and making sure that we're getting the right kind of officiating in our games. Yeah. Okay. Death saying, what are your thoughts of the Siakam All-NBA slander? In my opinion, he's a more complete player over a guy like Butler, and he is not as good scoring, but is better at everything else over Tatum. Well, I think that he's starting to get some actual talk from around the NBA that he should be all NBA. And if we look at the logic of when he was all NBA before the bubble, he's playing better now. So if he was that good then and he was all NBA then, he should be all NBA now because he's playing the best basketball of his life right now. So far, he's going to get better. But yeah, I don't even know what the slander is. It's more of an omission thing with him. Like, they'll just not even think about him being a candidate or something like that. I agree. He's much more of an all NBA candidate than Jimmy Butler in some ways. And also, like, who's the other person? Tatum, you're saying? Yeah. Tatum's probably in the conversation as well. But once again, the Tatum Brown thing really cancels each other out. Like if Jason Tatum's so upset about losing bonuses or incentive payments because he's not getting all NBA or this or that or this or all, he should fucking be mad at Jaylen Brown, because in some ways Jaylen Brown takes a lot of the shine from him. They're kind of double-edged. That's that whole thing. Like the whole reason why Chris Paul and Devin Booker shouldn't be considered for MVP is because they're both in the conversation. They cancel each other out. And it's the same kind of thing with Tatum with Brown. In some ways, he's a shadow that really causes problems for him as far as getting individual accolades. And Pascal, in a way, is so head and shoulders above the rest of our guys that he is a figurehead for sure, leader, and he's performing at a certain level of unstoppableness. It's really the unstoppableness that it makes him all NBA. They can't stop him. The defense is trying so many things with contact, doubling him. He's weaseling his way through. He's working his way through and making shots and making points anyway. And that is the sign of an all NBA unstoppable player like Giannis, like Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James. That kind of caliber of unstoppableness is Pascal Siakam. And that's what they can't deny. So, yeah. Darren, man. Oh, my gosh, Darren, I miss you so much. Every time I see you back here and here with us, I love seeing your name. Darren in Jakarta. It is actually almost midnight in Jakarta right now, and he's been watching us. Use good people, Lexi. Go Raps. Where are the Pascal haters now? Yes, Darren. Where are you, motherfuckers? We're going to kick you in the head and talk so much shit to you for fucking putting this man down. All the ugly things you said about Pascal Siakam. Hold your tongue and realize and bask in his greatness now. Please. Greg saying, Lex, you're an amazing host and ambassador for Raps fans. So glad I found your live stream. Greg, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it, honestly, because I know you put a lot of work into your channel over there. I see the editing and all the different fun bells and whistles you're doing with your stuff. I wish I was better at that kind of stuff. I'm really good at what I'm doing now is improv and on the fly, interacting with you guys live and just keeping it going in a factual, good way that the rails just don't totally come off of it. And it's really, for me, it's my experience being on FM radio in Florida as a DJ for like a decade and just kind of understanding, how to interact with you guys in a way and make it entertaining no matter what. And that's what I'm trying to do. But I appreciate that's a great compliment, and big compliment to you with your editing and the clips, and the way that you do stuff is fantastic. I wish I knew how to do that kind of shit. I'm really bad at that kind of stuff. All right, Scott B saying Pascal Siakam, all NBA, Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year, Precious Achua, Most Improved Player, Nick Nurse, Coach of the Year. Yeah, Scott B, not to mention the incredible defense from all. Yeah, I mean, we really, honestly, we're biased. We could probably be contenders in all of these categories that you're talking about. But really, realistically, the two that we really care about the most are the Pascal one and the Scotty one. The Scotty one's probably number one. Pascal doesn't make all NBA. It is just a shaft. It is what it is. But yeah, Precious is a long shot for Most Improved. And Nick Nurse, Coach of the Year. Somebody was talking about this yesterday. I think it was Paul Jones or somebody on the nightcap. They're talking about Coach of the Year and possibilities for Nick Nurse. And it's such a wide open field. There's so many coaches this year that overachieved and are in the running for Coach of the Year that Nick Nurse is going to be an afterthought, even though he probably is one of the top 5 Coach of the Years this year for sure. But yeah, it is what it is. We don't need to get all those flowers all the time, but they do need to come around and make sure we get recognition from time to time for sure. And the one we really want is that rookie of the year, number 1, and Pascal all NBA, number 2. We got Fred to the All-Star game. That was a good goal to have this year, and it happened. That's fantastic. But we need a couple more flowers before the end of the season, NBA. And if you ain't going to give us flowers, well, we may need to go get that big flower bed at the end. It's called the Larry O.B. if you ain't going to give us our respect. Oh, yeah. Scott's also saying Pascal Siakam top 5 in scoring in the league. I think that if he was getting the and ones that he should have been getting all season, just think about how much higher his scoring average would be. Like, there's a lot of talk right now about Harden and Embiid and Tyronn Lue saying that these guys wouldn't score so much if they weren't getting to the line so much. And it is true in the NBA. Getting to the line is at the discretion of the referees to a degree. And they will funnel more free throw shots to different people, like those guys I just mentioned. Pascal's not getting his fair share. And the amount of extra points that he could have been getting off of and ones this season, who knows how much that would have added up and increased his scoring average this year. So the fact that he's up there in the top scorers anyway right now without getting a lot of the free throws that he should be getting, there you go. That's right there. Seymour Pape saying, I know we have a better road record, but do you think home court is important for the playoffs? We're a special team. I think last year really kind of broke us, and not in a bad way, broke us in a good way, broke us into like being road warriors, ultimate road warriors. That it's almost in a way these guys get up and play with more intensity and more of an edge when they hear the crowds against them, when they're in the unfamiliar territory. And in some ways, life in Toronto is so cushy. The city's cosmopolitan. They have everything at their whim. They live the Drake life. They can do whatever the fuck they want here. It's a little cozy. And they may have rested on their laurels a bit this season. That's part of the reason why our home record was so bad. And this past 4 games is really good because they got a different kind of win in each one of them. They got a really grinded out, crazy overtime win against Boston. They got an important divisional race win with Cleveland, where it was like they came out and punched them in the face and just kept a good lead for most of the game. They had a real slouch game with a crazy ass delay against Indiana. And then we had a game like last night where the team started with some good punch in the face against us and their big dominant center, but we still overcame. This is really good because each one of these 4 games we just played showed a different kind of way to win in different kinds of scenarios, not loafing against a shitty team like the Pacers and really stepping up and executing in a game like the game against Boston. And that was one of my worries. Was I knew these games being home games, most going out, and we got another 4 in a row at home coming up after the Orlando game, is going to be really telling about how we're learning to use our home court advantage. And it's not just how the players play in the arena, it's also how our crowd brings it and whether they're building an air of confidence in the building and believing in our team. And that is really important. Like throughout the history of the Raptors in our expansion years, even with the Vince years, different times, the confidence in the building gets sucked out so easily because we know if we're a bad team, we're not going to be able to come back. Well, it's not that way anymore. We need to realize even when things are going bad, we cannot let the crowd get unconfident or have problems, and it echoes into the players. And at times, that's why it was so interesting to have the control group of having no fans in the arena this year with the mandate, and then having a couple of fans in there and seeing how it interacted with how the team performed. You know, with the different intangibles of having the crowd or not having the crowd. In some ways, the sterile environment of not having the crowd was very conducive and helpful to the Raptors during that time, that the other team was not used to it. And we were, and we kicked ass in a lot of the games where we didn't have a crowd. We won. We had a really good winning record with no crowd in there. And we were losing with the crowd in there. I was like, what the fuck is this? So it is really good tune-up. These 8 home games, the 4 we just played and the 4 coming up, for getting our home court advantage figured out and sorted out, whether it's the players playing at the right aptitude and energy from the start, being at home, cozy home comfort, creature comforts, and then the fans also really coming with the right effort and keeping that air of confidence in our building, because that is a big factor in how we can do. If you're confident in the team there and you just look through a bullshit and say, oh, they're not doing so well, they're missing shots, but we're confident in them, they're going to work through this and they're going to still win in the end, that will show on the court if we bring that energy as fans to every single game we have left in the season and then in the playoffs, in those playoff games. So there's a little bit about the whole difference between the home stuff with us this year and the road stuff. We're definitely ultimate road warriors. That was shown on that West Coast trip, winning 5 in a row against those teams. And we are definitely now showing that we can win at home like this too. This is all really good and boding well and coming together at the right time. Like the home stuff was really scary to me a couple weeks ago. The way we were losing to Orlando and Detroit, and then that Laker game that we lost in Toronto. Yeah, those were bad signs. But after this 4-game stretch recently, I feel really a lot better. And let's see what happens with this last 4-game stretch with Miami, Atlanta, Houston, and Philadelphia all coming in the next one. So we'll see what's up. We'll see what's up. Ray McCarthy, another new name. I love seeing new names in here. We're here every morning. At some point, I'll pop in for doing a live for an hour or two between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every single day, Eastern Standard Time. I will be here. I will be here talking daily Raptors. Ray saying, I told my cousin from Illinois off for him talking shit about Canada. See, he's hearing it too. Like even his family. This is the thing. Like this is irresponsible journalism by Tim Bontemps. He's not telling the truth. He's not putting the facts out there. In fact, he's making up a story out of not knowing anything. And it's fucked up because it does have repercussions. It does have a ripple effect in different ways in society. And this just shows you how irresponsible journalism by places like Fox News, CNN, I don't give a shit who it is, both sides, it hurts everybody. Because misinformation and the battle against misinformation is really one of the things that's really fucking up the world right now and causing a lot of conflict and unnecessary conflict. And we're seeing it in this whole thing right here with Ray's cousin in Illinois talking shit about Canada just because of some bullshit that Tim Bontemps started up. Yeah. So Tim Bontemps is on my hated list for good now. He is. You're just on there. You know, Michael Grange wrote a hit piece about how Masai Ujiri is going to go to Washington Wizards and like we're going to lose him and how the Raptors are going to be horrible for years to come. Yeah, I haven't forgiven you for that, Michael Grange. You're still a fucking piece of shit for that. And Tim Bontemps, you're getting it for this one now. Yeah, it's bullshit that you started this week. Seymour Pape saying we the North, hashtag with the Maple Leaf. That's right. That's the right attitude. Scott B says, I don't think fourth is out of the question. The Raptors are playing sound basketball and in different styles, unlike any team I've ever seen. It is really true. We can do it to the other team, turn on our offense like in the second quarter last night, or shut them down. Pull that mall store thing, that thing that rattles at the end of the night in the mall. You hear them all over the place. You know what I'm talking about when you're closing up the Spencer's Gifts or the EB Games or something like that. Close it down. Nobody's scoring no points in the fourth quarter anymore here. We the North, we've annexed this part of your home court here in LA or whatever arena. And this is now Canada. We have made this Canada just like y'all did fucking Hawaii and Alaska. This area of the paint, and you guys, you can't come in here anymore. We have annexed this. We the North. This is Canada. We're putting the Maple Leaf flag right here. You can't come in here and score no more. You know, we can do that. We can either shut them down defensively or we can turn it on offensively in different ways with different weapons. And I agree with that. And like I was saying earlier, we have 6 more games left. We're at 44 wins. We win out, we get 50 wins. Wouldn't that be a crazy ass accomplishment by this team this year to get to 50 wins after everything? This is like a normal Raptor year. We get her to around 46 wins, 48 wins, and we're flirting with 50 wins, and we're a badass team. This is like normal for the Raptors. So everything, even though we've been development, even though we weren't supposed to be in the playoffs, we're the normal Raptors this year with a record and flirting with 50 wins. This is a very, very a normal thing for us. And it'd be badass because some years we don't get to the 50. It'd be really badass if we did win out and got the 50 this year on the down low. Yeah, win 10 straight to go out for the season. And that is momentum for going into the playoffs. Oh, yeah, that is momentum and confidence that I would love the Raptors to have by then. So let's see how close they get to 50. It's going to be tough. It may not be realistic, but yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Scott B. I think fourth, if we do get most of the last 6, we could be in that fourth position and have home court advantage after all. But it's going to take one of the top 4 really having a slide also, because there is about 3 games in between us all. Like, let me look at it exactly. Like, let me see. It is basically right now we're 2.5 games behind Boston for the 4th. And we have 6 games to go. You do the math. It's like we really got to win, and they've got to do some sliding. But also, it's not only 2.5 games behind them, we're 2.5 games behind Philadelphia. So there's 2 teams that could possibly slide all the way down and get into the 5th spot. So we'll see. I love that we're really solidifying being out of the play-in. Yeah, let's go for home court advantage because it's within reach. That's absolutely crazy at this point in the season. Greg's saying at Seymour, home court in 2019 helped us come back to beat both the Sixers and Bucks, and even helped us secure the chip in the finals because we had a better record than the Warriors that year. Yeah, that was all really crucial and key, and it does become important and stuff like that. So yeah, this is a great year and our record's good. We may not have much home court advantage in the playoffs this year, but, you know, hopefully we can build and come out of the gates next year and be dominant and have the kind of year that will set us up for the postseason, like what Greg is saying in 2019. because that did really help in the Philly series for sure. And that Milwaukee series was really interesting because we won a lot of games in Milwaukee anyway. So once again, the road warrior mentality of our team really helps us also. And also we won a lot of games in Golden State. Think about that also in the finals too. So Greg saying, I got to go to work, guys. Thanks for another great post game. Thanks, Greg and James. Make sure you guys take your vitamins, and I'll send you some pickles and ice cream. Hey, listen, I'm not involved in this junior bullshit that James has got going with Delano. I'm not even his OBYGN or whatever. I'm not fucking anything to do with this monstrosity that they've created inside James's womb. No. I'm getting a 10-foot stick and I'm keeping it as far away from me, whatever the fuck is going on in their romantic relationship. I'm not going to even slander Delano anymore. I don't know what you're doing, James, stealing his seed somehow while he sleeps. That's disgusting. Do not put that in you anymore and try and make any more babies. It's disgusting. But yeah, I'll eat my vitamins at least. Raymond's saying, at Clink, at Lex, I see a collab coming soon. Hey, listen, whatever we can figure out that makes sense with his formatting and what I'm doing. He's already collabing us on the down low. If he's taking my clips and remixing me and doing stuff like that, he's collabing us. It's a collab already, Raymond. So yeah, I mean, if we want to do a different kind of collab in a different kind of way, hey, we'll do that at some point. I know I was talking to Luca this week about collabing with Luca Rosano and stuff like that. Sure. I do other shows. I've gone on a Confederacy of Dunks. I've been on To the Point with Skip and the King. So I've done a couple of different Raptors places already. And I'm always open to being there around positive, good Raptor fans. And if they start the bullshit, I will call them out. Like the last time I was on To the Point with Skip and the King, I almost cussed Skip out. Yeah. He pissed me off. He was being very negative about the Raptors, and I called him on it in the middle of the fucking show. And I basically, I called him out on it. And I don't think they'll ask me back, partly because of that. Because I did. I basically made him look really bad. So, and I needed to in that moment. I really did. All right, let's see. James is saying, at Greg, you can try and be nice if you want, but I am still unsubbing over the Banton hater comments. I came here for Raps chat, not to talk about my dark places. Listen, James, I won't tell you to unsub Greg, but please, everybody, hit the red subscription button for the Raptor Freak channel on YouTube. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscriptions so I can do all kinds of crazy bells and whistles with the YouTube stuff that gets unlocked there. I have crazy good YouTube stats because I do these hour, 2 hour, 3 hour live streams every morning. So I have an amazing amount of watch time on my thing. I've already beat that prerequisite to get what YouTube wants. I had that like in November just because of the nature of my channel with the live stream and how many people watch me for so long. My watch hours are crazy. So I just need to get the actual subscriptions up and I'll be gold. So please, James, hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to unsubscribe from Greg's channel. Stay there. Do it still. Put up with his bullshit. But if he does continue this Delano Banton love child storyline, then maybe, yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, because he is slanderizing you for sure. He is. I agree with that. Because you didn't even say anything. He came in here and he got on you already. Seymour Papis saying, check mark for Greg. I like it. Scott B saying, we own the tie against the Sixers with a game coming up against them. Well, we just want to continue to win. Didn't we beat them already? Yeah, it's 2-1, I think. In our series with the Sixers, I think they've only beaten us once this year, and we beat them twice. And if we win this one, that means we beat them for the series. So that could be important if we're really close in their record at the end. The tiebreaker may matter with the Sixers, and that's actually one of the few teams, other than the Milwaukee Bucks, that we have a winning record tiebreaker that we win in. So if we're tied with the Sixers at the end of the season in 4 and 5, or the two spots where we're sitting, we'll be in that 4 spot, hopefully. But we do need to beat them this last game against them next week. James is saying, so do we get home court against any teams below us? If, let's say, the Nets beat the Celtics round 1 and then we get the Nets, do we get home court? Of course. Yeah, it's just all by record. It's really whose record's better and stuff like that. And it's crazy. That's why these games all matter. The more wins we get, the more better for tiebreakers and home court advantage possibly. But we shouldn't expect a whole lot of home court advantage for us in the playoffs this year. We'll get home games, but we're not going to get home court advantage for the most likely. If we get that 4 spot, that'd be fantastic. But for the most likely, even on the other side, we got to play some sort of big juggernaut in the finals. They're going to probably have home court advantage this year and stuff like that. So, and I know I'm talking about us getting the finals because that's a very real possibility. And people that don't think that's a possibility, they're too influenced by the NBA's stupid narrative that we're not a real team. If you look at the Eastern teams, there's a couple teams that look like pretenders, Cleveland and maybe even possibly Chicago, but we are not one of the pretender teams right now. No, we're not. All right, let's see. James Mallard says, oh yeah, I already said that. Yes, James, we would. Raymond Jacobs saying, let's get Alex on hustle play. He'd make a better replacement coach than the current one, Roach. I like that Roach guy. He's a nice guy. He's Chris's buddy. I don't want to take anybody's job, but I'd love to come on there and just be in the peanut gallery or something like that. It's fun and stuff like that. I love that show. But yeah, you know what? He could tighten up his interview game. He could maybe make it a little more smooth in different ways on there, Mr. Roach. But yeah, I love that show right now. I'm not going to diss it too much because I just love that we're getting that kind of insider content with Chris palling around with his teammates. And you could tell, even though Thad is new to the team, that like there's a general easiness between everybody and stuff like that. But you can tell that him and Chris don't exactly know each other really closely yet. But like I'm waiting for him to get somebody like OG on the show. The Chris Boucher hustle play episode with OG is going to be off the chain, y'all. And even the one with Scotty is going to be badass. If he gets Scotty on there and they do one, it's going to be really good. But I have a feeling those are kind of like sweeps week episodes that Chris will put out of hustle play when he gets like these really sought after Raptors that are just going to be badass. Like he'll be getting huge following and like all kinds of views when he gets Scotty Barnes on there. Or OG, even OG's episode is going to be funny. OG's episode is going to be hilarious when he goes on there with Chris. It will be. But yeah, I don't want to take Roach's job. He's doing okay. But I would love to be involved. I'd love to just be there or maybe be in the peanut gallery or maybe have one little segment with them or something like that. Something dumb. Maybe I do a wrestling segment with Chris where we talk about WWF or something like that. James is saying, Lex, you're going to love what Jubbs did with the singing you did. He's across promoting you, and I'm here because I heard about you from his vids. We're going to get you both to 1,000 and beyond. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to hear. And that's why I was so happy to see Greg recently come and like be more active on my stream. I'm really happy Greg's being more involved here. And like I said, I want y'all to go and see the Jubstown Clink and what he's doing on his page too. A lot of the people that have been here with me already have been with him also, like Sue and Tom. They're big fans of his over there also, and they've been here with me also. And I know that we all share an audience and stuff like Luca Rosano, the Raptors Digest kids, Talking Raptors, everybody. We're all sharing the same audience, and there's much crossover and different things like that. And I appreciate that, James. Like I'm glad to hear that this is why you're here, and I really appreciate it, Greg. And yeah, let's get to 1,000. You help me, James. Go tell your friends, go share me on places on Facebook and stuff like that. If you want to take my clips and remix them like Greg's doing, I have no skin in the matter. I'm not making any money off this. So it's like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to be like Drake and put a copyright infringement on you if you use my song or something like that. Fucking put me out there and do it creatively. I don't care. I look like a fool already on here. I'm a trained clown. I literally am a trained clown. I've learned from clown school, from my clown teacher, how to do clown. And I'm not talking about kids' birthday parties. I'm talking about the performance art clown, where you get into a whole other mindset. So I am a clown. I make fun of myself and I do things that are funny all the time. It's partly on purpose. So when somebody comes here and in the comments and says, you're a clown, I'm like, you damn right I'm a clown. And thank you. And that's what I say. Seymour saying, man, Yuda needs to stay away from Minnesota back-to-back years of getting dunked on. Yeah, it's Minnesota. And like I said, I love Anthony Edwards' reaction after that. He's like, yeah, we got you again. They had to flash over to the Minnesota bench after that posterization, and they had to catch the reaction of Anthony Edwards. Of course, they had to, TSN. They did. And he had a big smile, and he's like, that guy. It's like, oh, it's so awesome. But see, from our side, let's celebrate Yuda for having huge cojones, because that's really what he's doing there. He's like, motherfucker, if he was playing with Shaq in the league still, he would do that shit to Shaq, I'll bet. He would fucking try Shaq, him coming at him full steam like that. He's so crazy to do that shit. Really, seriously. Let's see. Scott saying, Yuda will come up big for us. He's still just rusty. I think so too. He's just not getting an opportunity. It's really what we're doing. In fact, in some ways, we don't maybe want you to ever get the opportunities because that means there's injuries and stuff like that. I don't know. The future will tell us what happens with guys on our bench in the near future as far as whether they're going to stick around or what's going to happen. I hope that, because you want to root for a guy like him and you want him to be very successful and awesome because he's just such a positive, awesome dude. But this is a sport, this is a business, there's a reality to it. And that's just the matter. It's like in Masai we trust, and that what we trust is he's going to give us the best damn team, best damn players for our franchise to play. And sometimes it doesn't line up with what we want with our heart, with what we need as a team. And that's the sad thing about it. All right, I'm just going to run over the box score real fast, just a little bit to finish up this thing at 2.5 hours. On the other side, we did really successful things against D'Angelo Russell. He was 3 for 15 from the field, 1 of 7 from threes. That's fantastic work by Gary Trent and Fred and different people that had to cover him. Only 13 points. That was one of the keys to win yesterday, and we did it. And I didn't like Patrick Beverley getting so many points at 10 points, but, for the most part, he wasn't a huge factor like he could have been. Same thing with Cat, 16 points for Cat. That's fan-fucking-tastic. Holding Karl Anthony Towns to 16 points. Anthony Edwards did kill us with 24 points. In the first half, he was much more effective, especially in that first quarter, 10 of 17, going to the basket, hitting threes, 4 for 7, really annoying. And then there's different role players off the bench doing different things, whether it was Prince or Noel or Reed. That kind of stuff. It was just a gloss over that. But looking at our guys, triple-double by Pascal. Didn't have it offensively. 5 of 15 from the field. Didn't hit his 2 3-point attempts. But 10 rebounds, 13 assists, and 12 points. Motherfucking NBA, you better not take one of those 10 rebounds away, you motherfucking piece of shit. If you do that, I'll be so pissed. OG, really efficient, 9 of 13. You wouldn't even think his fingers broken. 4 of 4 from 3, 22 points. Really, really good game, understated game by OG. And we should be kind of talking about him more, honestly. Scotty didn't start well, was really kind of passive, wasn't aggressive, didn't get to start the second half, then came out gangbusters in the fourth, made sure he got some points. 7 of 9 shooting, fantastic, 17 points. Fred VanVleet picking his spots, being a vet, hitting key threes at a time, really controlling things, like 5 steals, really key stat for Fred. The 5 steals, he had 3 of them at the half, 2 in the second half. Gary Trent Jr., our leading scorer, 29 points, 6 of 8 from 3. That's fantastic to see when he's shooting like that. 9 of 13 from the field. That is really, really good. I love that all around. Thad Young, once again, an all-around glue guy kind of game. 10 points, a steal, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. 4 of 6 from the field, 2 3-pointers, and that fantastic left-handed jam. Paul B, that's got to be on our countdown. Chris Boucher, off night. He's having a tough week. 2 of 11. He kept getting blocked last night. Like that shit where Chris kept getting blocked was really fucked up. I hated seeing that. But yeah, they just are having good timing. This is where you really need to do some pump fakes, do some Kevin McHale stuff, or like even Precious. These guys take their time to collect themselves underneath the basket where they get the ball either from a pass or offensive rebound when there's other guys around. Wait for the defender to jump up and then elevate and put it in. And sometimes you need to dunk it. You can't come up with this half-ass, like kind of just trying to lay it in. Just come up with power and throw it down, whether it's Precious, Thad, OG, Chris. Any of those guys down low, do it that way. Just throw it down on them. That'll make sure it'll go in. So, yeah, and Precious was great. 22 minutes, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 3-pointers, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 13 points. And I won't even talk about the bench guys because they really didn't do a whole lot in the 4 minutes they got out there, but they did get to run around a little bit, which was cool. Seymour Pape saying 34 points in 31 minutes, PG-13 in his comeback, and now Kawhi talking about coming back. Nothing but load management. Shaking my head. Well, that's a problem for the Western Conference. We know realistically the Clippers ain't going to do shit, even if these 2 guys show up right at the end and stuff like that and try and do something. In fact, that kind of fucks up your team in some ways, in different ways and stuff like that. We'll see. I don't know. The Western Conference, hey, let whatever happen out there happen. If we get the finals, we'll see who's there then. I don't really worry about what's happening with all them and that kind of stuff. But yeah, interesting that Paul George came back and had such a good game in his game back, 34 points in 31 minutes. Very cool. Oh, Monique's here right at the end. Good to see you, Monique. The super fan, Monique. Always good to see her. Absolutely amazing game. Curry Achua on my levels. You keep calling him Curry Achua because you think he's like Steph Curry with his threes. I love that, Monique. That's great. Curry is a great name for 3-pointers. Obviously, Steph Curry, Del Curry, Seth Curry. But yeah, Achua could be an honorary Curry family member with his way he's shooting it with his precision. And Nick Nurse did say it also. He said Precious is super confident with his 3-point shot right now, and that's half of it. You have to be so confident and believe in yourself that you'll make it. And I love that he didn't believe anybody else telling him not to do it. That you shouldn't be shooting threes because Miami will let you shoot one. You missed it last year. You shouldn't be shooting threes. Well, he's showing a confidence in himself that is really great as an individual, and hopefully it espouses to all of the Raptors to have a confidence in themselves as a team for what they can accomplish and dream up and be and imagine and become. Because that's the thing. People will tell you you're supposed to be limited in all kinds of ways because they limit you in their own mind. But you don't have to take the bait and limit yourself just because people impress that on you. That deep down inside what you can do and you can go do it. And that's why I love what Precious did is because they told him he couldn't and he said he could and he did. And that's what I love. I love that. I love that. Yeah, he has been totally on fire from three. And this is the thing. Him and OG have a certain thing about their release and the way they shoot. It's so picture perfect and very same all the time that their 3-point shots look like lasers at this point. Like when they shoot them, they go shh, and they go right in the hoop. And that's kind of what that 3-quarter shot that Precious threw at the end of that quarter looked like to me. It was like that was his precision laser going and finding right to the basket, swish right through. Because you see when OG and Precious shoot the three, it's such a beautiful arc, straight kind of thing, and then swish right through the basket. It's really beautiful thing to see for a basketball person that loves the game. Seeing that beautiful sound and that swish is so badass. Okay, Monique took her statement back. And Seymour saying most improved for sure. He's Precious. I'd love for all of our guys to win all the awards, but it's just not going to happen. And Precious, even though he has probably been like one of the most improved players in the league, look out. Let's wait and see what him and Scotty do in the years to come. He may be even more rewarded or earning, like deserving of a most improved player award down the road for something even crazy, incredible they jump to. So, yeah, and Monique's really pushing for Nick Nurse to win Coach of the Year and stuff like that. But like I said, that's pretty much probably not going to happen, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But like I said, if we got to pick one, I want Scotty to win Rookie of the Year, even over Pascal All-NBA. James is saying at Seymour Pape, it is 100% load management. Real injuries keep you out. Raps bounce players in and out all season. They play 40 minutes one night, and then they're out with soreness. The next night, they test out Armani. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Kawhi and his little fucking load management life. Like, we saw it here. We saw it. And, who knows? I don't fucking give a shit. Steve Ballmer, you pay him all this money to sit around. That's fine. Your team is not going to do well no matter what because it's not constructed correctly. And in some ways, like LeBron, I said LeBron, but he could be included in this too. Kawhi is a loafer. Kawhi, he works hard. He's a very super talented person, but he doesn't want to work hard in some ways. And he just wanted that money. And that's why I'm glad he's not in Toronto anymore. We dodged a bullet when he left in some ways. It was really disheartening and sad because we thought it's really going to hurt our chances to repeat, obviously. But also we dodged a bullet that we didn't hold on to him and try and keep him for a second year and keep him around. That he is very dysfunctional and causes a lot of problems for his team. As much as he's talented and a badass player, he also causes a lot of problems. And I think we dodged a bullet with him gone. Because think about it, he wanted us to get Russell Westbrook and somebody else, Paul George on our team. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. And James is also saying, I think load management is smart. No one will remember you playing 82 games. They will remember if you win a chip because your stats were healthy. Yeah, yes and no. There's a certain level of it that's smart. In the end of the year, Fred VanVleet gets a load management game here and there. He's getting them recently. That's smart. But sitting out the majority of your season just to save yourself for the end of the year is not smart because you will not integrate in enough time and have enough reps, enough cohesion with your other teammates. They can't just fucking show up to the party at 11:55 p.m. say, we're here. This party is going to end at midnight, motherfucker. You're not going to get the party that long because I want everybody home out of my house, out of here at midnight. You showed up at 11:50. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. That's why part of the reason why I don't have any faith in the Brooklyn Nets is because their band's getting together late in the season and they're trying to add too much altogether. And really what we've tried to do this whole season is get as many reps with our core guys as possible so they get second nature. Well, there may be a lack of cohesion and gelling with Kawhi and Paul trying to be adding so late. And in some ways, they may hurt the Clippers more than they help them, is what I'm saying. So, but load management's good for health-wise, managing for throughout the whole year to make sure your guys aren't like not available. I get that. Yeah, that's important from that aspect. But sometimes these guys are just fucking lazy. Like, seriously, I really think Kawhi Leonard is a lazy guy. He could be a lot harder working guy. He could be doing a lot more different things with his career and what he did. The fact that he was willing to sit out and strong arm San Antonio doing the first Ben Simmons says a lot right there. Like, he wasn't as hurt as he said. He just didn't want to fucking play for the Spurs. So he made them trade him. So it's fucked up. It's fucked up. Don't get let's not get it confused. Load management and just a fucking player who's sitting out like Ben Simmons kind of bullshit. All right, let's see. Monique's saying Orlando's going to get a beat down. I hope you're right. Oh my gosh, I hope you're right. I'm pretty sure you are. But it'll be fun. And the other thing is fun is that these guys get to go to Orlando all of a sudden and get a little bit of that Florida sunshine and heat, a little break from these 8 games here in Toronto. Go down there and get a little bit of Florida, a little bit of that old Tampa feeling because you're being right near our old home base last year. All right, let's see. Scott B said Kawhi wanted us to trade Pascal for Paul George. Yeah, I know. Ridiculous. No. People like Paul George. They think he's so great. But to me, also, he's another loser. He's another loser to me. Like in every place he's gone, he's a great player in different ways and stuff like that. But he's also a loser to me. He loses. Seymour saying that James, he got that from being here. And now in LA, he's trying to get our players and rewind it all back in LA. Not going to happen. Yeah, when he had Serge and Norm and, Steve Ballmer was really, really scouting us a lot that championship year. Doc Rivers was coming here talking to Kawhi Leonard the whole season. They basically tampered during the season to try and encourage him to come to the Clippers in the offseason. They did. They straight up did. And they didn't get any trouble for it. The NBA knew they did it, but because it's Toronto and some bullshit, they didn't fucking do anything about it. It's kind of fucked up. Well, Steve Ballmer, look out for what you wish for because you get what you wish for, and that is what you're getting in LA. And you see how well you've done since you got Kawhi from us, and nothing's happened. That's right. It's because we make the best out of our guys here because our institution, our franchise is very functional and good. And your franchise has a history of really fucked up shit from a long time ago. And there's still a lot of problems with dysfunction in your franchise, even though you're a new owner, a much better owner than the owner before you. But still, there's a lot of old ghosts that haunt the Clippers organization. And yeah, they have never won an NBA championship. We have. And I don't expect the Clippers to ever win a championship, honestly, because they're in such a bad place being in the same city with the Lakers in different ways. And there was a lot of functional things that were happening with their team, with Elgin Baylor and Donald Sterling, that fucked that team up for long term. And I don't care if Steve Ballmer comes in and throws money at everybody. They're still going to be shitty. And they won't win anything because in some ways they're not actually a team. Like Kawhi is a great player, but the way that they played the last couple of years since he's been there, I don't think that they're a very good team amongst each other, that they play very well each other. And they got rid of all these great players that they had around them, like Montrezl Harrell and people like that they fucked up when they got rid of Harrell. They fucked up when they lost Patrick Beverley and shit like that. So, I think their team's worse than it was when Kawhi got there the first year. At this point, even Paul George, whatever. Paul George, honestly, I don't respect Paul George as much as other people do. I really don't. All right, let's keep going. At Seymour Pape, so true. He left and is now trying to recreate the roster from here. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. The thing is, once you have a star player, a franchise player like Kawhi or LeBron trying to be your GM, you're fucked. You're fucked. That's like you can't wear that many hats. You can't be the star player and try and be the GM because there's too much confusion. There's too much conflicts of interest. There's all kinds of different shit that just makes it a dysfunctional situation. And that's what the LA teams are finding out, that they're not going to get anywhere like this. They really aren't. The bubble championship is an aberration and some bullshit that they set up for them. But otherwise, they ain't going to win. Let's keep going. Seymour is saying at Monique, the greatest Raptors need to come out like Randy Macho Man Savage, flying and kicking his ass. Today is Jesse Ventura, just so you all know, former Minnesota Governor Jesse the Body Ventura is getting interviewed by Mean Gene today after the Minnesota win. All right, let's see. Monique saying Evan Mobley got hurt at the perfect time when you think about it. Yeah, for Scotty in the Rookie of the Year race. Okay, Raymond, this is how I'll finish because this is a good way to finish is with an impression. Okay, Raymond's saying late request impression. He wants to see Macho Man Randy Savage in a Slim Jim commercial. All right. Hang on. Let me get him first. I'm going to do this just for a visual. All right. I'll even stand to this side.
Oh, yeah. I heard there's some guy up here named Chris who's taking my Slim Jim career. Oh, yeah. Nobody can do it as good as the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. Yeah, where's this Chris Boucher? Up here in Canada. I'll show him who the real Slim Jim spokesperson is. Oh, yeah. Elizabeth, get my roll ball. Yeah. Snap into a Slim Jim.